No big delays this morning on the major roadways heading in. So far, things look really clear on 65, 24, and on 40. However, if you're 24 in the Manchester area, you've got that paving project still going on this morning and still causing quite a delay as you head westbound. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:06 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. How are you? Joan Jones is here. She got stuck in some of that traffic on the way in.
Every single morning, but this morning was just particularly slow.
And you were surrounded by a bunch of big old semi-trucks.
Which is every day. It's always just me and the semis on the road.
Okay, well, very good.
Yeah.
Well, glad you made it. And, yeah, that can get a little hairy, all that construction on 24. So glad you made it in. Look at the bright side, Joan.
Yeah, what's that?
You're not in Washington, D.C., where Big Balls got the you-know-what beat out of him yesterday. You see that or the other day?
I did. How sad. I mean, that there's a photo of him sitting down, kind of slumped over.
Yeah, it's really bad. And so if you have not seen the photo, it is, Big Balls, the guy that worked in Doge, very, very celebrated young man. And he was with a female companion, and they this big group of like 10 kids tried to carjack the woman that he was with, and I guess him too. So what he did was he actually kind of, threw, if you will, the woman inside the car in the passenger seat, and he got the living daylights beat out of him by these 10 thugs. And the picture of Big Balls is all bloody. He's got blood like all over his face, all over his mouth. It's dripping onto his chest and his arm. Edward Korestein, I believe, is his real name. And he is, I guess, is he really only 19? Is that what you're seeing, Joe?
He's just 19.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Remember how they were complaining that it was like a snot-nosed teenager that was going through their Social Security files?
No, he's the kind of guy that is going to try to save a woman.
Yeah,
That's the kind of guy that he is.
Exactly.
So, just another example, obviously, of, crime in Democrat-run cities. President Trump, by the way, has a lot to say on this. He commented on this.
Either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
Yeah, he's talking about Washington, D.C., where the president is, because we all know the crime in Washington, D.C., it is horrific. Now, apparently, though, Joan, I did a little bit of research on this, and supposedly, and this is a big supposedly, but supposedly the crime is down in Washington, D.C.
They say that all the time. Muriel Bowser is the mayor there, and she likes to, the police do what they can to keep her, going and give her all the props they can. And
so here's the deal, is that in Washington, D.C., and a lot of these big cities, big Democrat-run cities, we all know the game.
Yeah.
Where they do have these soft on crime policies, and a lot of these crimes aren't even reported anymore. So I don't know. I don't buy the notion that crime is down in Washington, D.C. And I do like what Donald Trump says, where the president says, you know what we need to do is we need to federalize Washington, D.C.
It's supposed to be run. By the way, I have to say that somebody from Doge was very badly hurt last night. You saw that. A young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C. And either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
Now, Joan, you probably know this, and I've spoken about this before. I actually had Senator Bill Haggerty, on to talk about this. It seems like years ago now, where the crime in Washington, D.C. is so bad because of the Democrat soft on crime policies.
Yes.
I would call it pro-crime, pro-criminal policies, that he was talking about taking control, congressional control, a long time ago. And I don't know whatever happened to that. But then the president posted on Truth Social, crime in Washington, D.C. is totally out of control. Local youths, and he puts that in air quotes, local youths and gang members, some only 14, 15, and 16 years old, are randomly attacking, mugging, maiming, and shooting innocent citizens. He forgot about knifing, but whatever. At the same time, knowing they will almost immediately be released.
And so when I was there, one of the big crimes that just stuck to me because I felt terrible for this man, and I think I told you this story recently. He's a man from maybe Egypt or something, supporting his family he had a day job, and he was, at nighttime, he was driving an Uber. And he was carjacked by two young girls.
Yeah, that's on video.
Yes. And they rounded a corner, and he was trying to hang on. And as they rounded the corner, they got too close to a telephone pole, and his body slammed against this telephone pole. He was dead in seconds.
Yeah.
The girl who was driving gets out of the car screaming. Now, everybody was right there and saw her. She gets out of the car screaming about, where's my phone? Where's my phone?
Yep.
And these kids know that they're going to walk away because they have all that restorative justice thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Where, if they get caught and it's their first time doing something, they're going to go and they'll get some classes. And,
sure.
They'll
learn.
Yes.
They'll go take some classes, and then on they go to commit more crimes.
Right.
And I remember very specifically, because I was so horrified at that Egyptian man holding on to this car because, number one, it's how he makes a living. It is how he supports his family. This was a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah, it was.
And he was holding on for dear life. And he was, obviously, you just described it perfectly. He was killed because that when your car is jacked, more often than not, you don't get it back. Yeah. More often than not, it is stripped for parts, whatever. And the police, I don't even know, do the police even bother in Washington, D.C. to look for vehicles that are carjacked?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just...
But it's horrifying, and it's both boys and girls.
And in Washington, the Heritage Foundation says, in D.C., between 2018 and 2022, only 1.7% of people arrested for carrying a pistol without a license were sentenced to prison.
1.7%?
Yep. 1.7% of people carrying a pistol illegally were sentenced to prison. And you could say that about almost every young person who's arrested.
Yep.
They're carrying a stolen gun.
Yep.
And it's the same here. Nashville is very much the same. The stolen gun issue is crazy.
Oh, yeah. People, we've talked about this so many times where Nashvillians and folks are leaving their guns in their cars.
Yes.
Some of these people even leave the guns in their cars and they don't lock their cars. Come on, man, at least make it hard.
Yeah.
So anyway, Donald Trump, continuing on with his Truth Social post, he says the most recent victim was beaten mercilessly by local thugs. Washington, D.C. must be safe, clean, and beautiful for all Americans, and importantly, for the world to see. Do you know, when I went to Washington, D.C. for the, for the State of the Union, Joe Biden's State of the Union.
Yeah.
It's dirty.
Yes.
D.C. is like dirty and gross.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but it is.
It wasn't always that way. D.C. has some of the most beautiful, it's one of the things that attracted to me when I went to interview for the job that I took there eventually. That it's beautiful, that there's greenery everywhere.
Yeah.
The landscaping is gorgeous around the National Mall. And, it's so historical. It's the cherry trees along the tidal basin.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous there.
I remember when I lived in Richmond, we would go to Washington, D.C. Loved it. But that was like years ago.
Yeah, when it was kept.
It's exactly right.
Yeah.
All right, so Donald Trump, because it's a long social media post. He says the most recent victim was beaten mercilessly by local thugs. Washington, D.C. must be safe, clean, and beautiful for all Americans, and importantly, for the world to see. If D.C. does not get its act together and quickly, we will have no choice but to take federal control of the city and run this city how it should be run and put criminals on notice that they're not going to get away with it anymore. Perhaps it should have been done a long time ago. Then this incredible young man and so many others would not have had to go through the horrors of violent crime. If this continued, the president says, I am going to exert my powers and federalize this city, make America great again. He should have also said, make D.C. safe again.
Yeah. And, you know, that the city of D.C. they've been trying to, go for statehood for forever.
Oh, yes.
They have one representative in Congress who's a non-voting member of Congress. And they've been trying to get her to have voting rights because, of course, that would be a blue vote.
Oh, it'd be hands
down every time.
If Washington D.C. was made a state, they would get 2 senators and I don't know how many houses in the in the House of Representatives. How many representatives in the House?
Yeah,
but I mean, it would all be blue,
of course.
And Bryon Wilson, actually, who's going to join us today.
Oh, this is a good one for him.
As conservative as Bryon is. He actually has an interesting perspective on this because he and I have spoken about it before where, he has said in the past, and I don't know if this has changed, but he says he does understand the point where, D.C. says that they effectively are a state and that they should get, equal representation, if you will, in the House of Representatives and the Senate. So I don't know. We'll talk to Bryon about that, but this police report, I'm going to get a little bit into this police report. The good news is it looks like Big Balls, Corstein, it looks like he is going to be okay. Got to real quick check the roads. Then we're going to talk a little bit about what the police report says. And, is it the federal government's job to try to police Washington, D.C.? It is, sorry, I'm running a little late. It is 5:16. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Nothing to speak of this morning on the major roadways headed in. Just a heads up that Murfreesboro schools go back to class today. It's a half day. I'm sorry. It's a half day today for students in Murfreesboro. So careful out there because you're going to have extra buses on the roads. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Partly cloudy today, a high of 89. Going to feel more like 100. Is that true, Joan?
Yes, sir, it is.
It's going to be 89, but it's going to feel like 100 degrees.
Roaring back, yeah.
With a 40% chance of showers and a 20% chance for scattered thunderstorms as well. Summer's back with a vengeance.
Yeah, right. It is August.
I know. I was joking with Amy the other day. I said, because we go through this because she's from Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
And so we do this like every year because I'm such a numbnuts. She's like, I say, all right, so is summer over? Can we finally break out the jackets? Because I'm a fall kind of guy.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I always say the same thing every single year. And she's like, no, Dan, it's August 2nd. Get a grip.
Yeah. And even September is not, my experience in the past, 2 Septembers that I've been here.
Yeah.
September isn't really spectacular either. You really have to wait until
Halloween. It's like Halloween when it finally starts to get cool. Anyway, so the police report, Big Balls, of course, if you're just joining us, the infamous Big Balls, who, of course, was one of the big guys there in Doge, Edward Corstein, was beaten yesterday trying to prevent and I think he actually did prevent a carjacking, and he threw a woman into her car. She was able to call 911 while he was beaten by a group of 8 to 10, thugs. I mean, that's what Donald Trump is calling them. The police report says this, that Corstein was with a woman near downtown D.C. when he saw a group of juveniles approach their car and make a comment about taking the vehicle, according to a Metropolitan Police Department incident report obtained by it's either the Washington Post or the New York Post, one of the two. At that point, for her safety, Corstein pushed his significant other into the vehicle and turned to deal with the suspects. The dramatic report concludes. The suspects then began to assault Corstein, the ex-Doge staffer, telling officers who rolled up on the scene at the same time he was being attacked. And you know how this goes, Joan, because we also saw this in Cincinnati. It's like 10 against 1. And it is absolute BS. You know, I could almost understand, you know, 1-on-1. But it's like 10-on-1.
Yeah. Well,
And when that poor woman Holly was beaten in Cincinnati, I mean, it was like 5 or 6 on one woman.
Yeah, and a guy punched her. That image just is seared into my brain. The way he punched her right in the face.
Right in the face.
Without, and he walked away.
Nobody cares.
Nope.
Have you
Nobody
heard?
cares.
Have you heard, by the way, the story of Holly? She spoke with Benny Johnson. Johnson.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
So I've got that audio.
Oh, good.
So what she has to say is heartbreaking.
You know, Charlie, what's his name? Charlie, the actor who's
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen donated $1,000 to her cause.
He sure did.
Yeah.
Do you know? Okay, so Joan, we're going to play that audio at 5:35.
Good.
Because what we're going to try to do, Joan, we're going to try to do the video on the YouTube TV. So,
Dan, like, are you taking a big step this morning?
I'm trying a big baby step for yours truly. I got to catch up to that darn Chris Hand, who's doing such a great job at playing
Trailblazing, yes.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't mean to, kiss his butt, but what Chris is doing 9 to 12 with the video, I don't know if anybody else is doing that in talk radio. I'm just telling you. I don't think anybody else is. So I hired Chris, and so I feel like I'm going to go ahead and try to ride his coattails on the video thing. We'll see how it goes, and fingers crossed. Anyway, so this whole thing just reads incredibly. They say a 15-year-old male, a 15-year-old female, both from Hyattsville, Maryland, were arrested and charged with unarmed carjacking. Corstein was treated on scene by D.C. Fire and EMS for injuries sustained in the assault. According to D.C. police, he is recovering from a broken nose, a concussion, and a black eye, according to a source familiar with the matter. They, of course, stole his iPhone. So you have all of that. By the way, could Donald Trump federalize Washington, D.C.? Congress, as you probably know, Joan, Congress would have to get involved. They call it the Home Rule Act of 1973, does allow Washington, D.C. to govern itself, the District of Columbia. It would have to pass the House and the Senate with a simple majority. Then the president can sign it, and that way he could take over, and the federal government could take over Washington, D.C. So, then, of course, we, as in the American taxpayers, are paying to federalize Washington, D.C. So anyway, that is, part of the news story today. Big Balls was beaten to, I'm not going to be dramatic and say within an inch of his life. But, when it's 8 or 10 against 1 and you got a bunch of kids that are, beating down on you, that's tough. And so this is just another example, just like we saw in Cincinnati and just like we seem to see a horrific situation in Las Vegas a couple of years ago as well. And so this does continue to be in the news. It is 5:24 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan Jones is in the WTN newsroom. Joan is coming up at 5:30.
Yeah, so what did Ghislaine Maxwell have to say about President Trump? We've got it. We'll tell you. And also, a convicted killer was put to death yesterday in Tennessee. We have the reaction from his victim's family. Those stories and more coming up here at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
529, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here. Okay, coming up next, the absolutely heartbreaking story of Holly, the beatdown victim in Cincinnati. There's so many things to be outraged over with this story, and I've got them all for you next, right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, watch us if you would on YouTube, Facebook, X, 997WTN.com, all the places. And take the Daily Dan poll. The Daily Dan poll today, Joan, is
Yes.
Donald Trump yesterday floated, because somebody asked, okay, so let's clear the deck right now. Who do you believe should be running, for the Republicans in 2028? You know what he said?
Yeah.
J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio.
Yep.
So go take the Daily Dan poll on YouTube. Please like and subscribe, by the way. Take the Daily Dan poll and tell us what you think. Are you cool with a J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio ticket in 2028? Yes or no? I have a feeling, Joan, this is going to be a lame poll because everybody's going to be like 100%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
but
yeah.
there might be other answers like C, like A was absolutely, B was no, and C was something like, heck no, they're all crooks. So that may get a lot of answers as well. Anyway, news with Joan Jones is right now on WTN.
Good morning, now 5:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The House Oversight Committee demanding files from the Justice Department and issuing subpoenas to some of the most powerful names in politics. And this all concerns the Jeffrey Epstein case.
Sources say the Trump administration is considering releasing transcripts from Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell's interview with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche this month. Sources say Maxwell told Blanche, who until recently was Trump's personal attorney, that Trump did nothing in her presence that would have caused her concern. After the interview, Maxwell was moved from a federal prison in Florida to a minimum security camp in Texas with more favorable conditions, a rare move for a convicted sex offender serving 20 years.
ABC's Nicole D'Antonio there. The state of Texas, Tennessee. The state of Tennessee carried out the lethal injection execution of Byron Black yesterday morning, convicted of murdering his girlfriend, Angela Clay, and her daughters, LaToya and LaKeisha, in the 1980s. Witnesses reported that Black showed signs of distress. Relatives of his victims had their say afterward.
He never apologized, and he never admitted it, even on his dying bed, that he took it to his grave with him, and he knows he did it. And this is closure for my family. My sister and her two daughters can finally rest in peace.
Black's attorneys say he shouldn't have been executed due to his intellectual disability. General Motors will continue making the Cadillac XT5 at the Spring Hill plant for a longer period of time. After telling workers in the spring that production would cease after August, GM now says production will continue into 2026. They didn't give any more details after that, though. Sales of that gas-powered XT5 rose 4% this year. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather just ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Yeah, looking pretty good this morning on 40 on West 24. Looks like things are starting to slow down on 65 in the southbound lanes around the Goodlettsville area. Pretty normal volume delay there. And then you've got the construction in Manchester on 24 heading westbound. Looks like that delay is starting to stack up now, too. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.537, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. Dan Mandis here along with Joan Jones. So we all, Joan, know the story of Holly.
Yes.
Now, Holly is the Cincinnati beat-down victim. And we know there's a number of different angles. There's a number of different people that were beaten down on that horrific. Was that just last weekend?
Yeah, I guess so.
No, I think it was weekend before last, actually. Weekend before last, because today's, what, Wednesday? So it was about a week and a half ago. But anyway, so we all remember the horrific photograph of Holly the hours after the beatdown, where she was beaten up by, a bunch of dudes and some women as well. And so just a horrible story. Somehow, somewhere, she became a Russian asset, which she's not a Russian asset.
No.
She's actually from Ohio.
Unbelievable.
But this was a major, major story. So you would think that the police chief and other people there within the government of Cincinnati and Ohio would reach out to Holly. But apparently they haven't. I want you to listen to this interview. This is from the Benny Show, Benny Johnson, and he had her on. I want you to listen to this. By the way, we're trying to play the video on our YouTube feed as well and all the streaming channels. Hopefully you can see it. Hopefully you can hear it. This is Holly. She looks a lot better, but she still looks like she's got her right cheek is badly bruised, and she's got a big old cut underneath her right eye.
Not only have I not been contacted, but I had to have the most ridiculous conversation with a New York Post reporter, and God love him. He was actually very sweet and kind, and I forget his name. I'm sorry. But they tried to say that I was a Russian asset or Russian spy, and I fled to Russia and all these different things. I'm not sure how or why this came about, or if they were like, oh, this will make the video go away. Oh, this will debunk her trying to talk. Or I don't know. Don't quote me on like what their thoughts are. Only they can explain it at some point in time.
Yeah, isn't that sad? So the police chief and the mayor didn't even contact her. This is an Ohio citizen. She's not a Russian asset. And so the mayor, the police chief, both, of course, and you and I have talked about this, Joan, both very DEI-infused, anti-white. Police chief was the one who blamed the media and social media for what happened. Remember all that? Oh, you're putting it out of context. And we were like, no, you can't put something like that out of context. And so this poor woman, Holly, she actually had to go into hiding. Now,
look at her face. Look at that poor woman's face.
Oh, yeah. And it's improved a lot. It has actually improved a lot. Now, there's people that are out there, the folks that are going to say there is some video out there that shows, and these days you don't know what's real and what's not. I have no idea. Even if one of the victims threw down the N-word, which is what the accusation is, it does not justify a beatdown by a group of people. Nothing justifies a beatdown like that. It's attempted murder.
It's attempted murder, absolutely.
Is it not attempted murder? Of course it is. So this is Holly, and she is obviously she is still hurting, and I cannot imagine the PTSD that she has. Still, and she's talking to Benny Johnston. And she did. Johnson. I keep saying Johnston. It's Johnson.
Johnson, yeah.
Yeah. And so she actually had to go into hiding. And no, she's not from Russia. She's actually, Joan, an insurance agent. And she detailed what exactly happened.
Well, Benny, I'm a single mom. I don't get out much. So I just wanted to go celebrate my friend's birthday and let loose for a couple hours. And, total innocent fun with all of us. And we got jumped. Bottom line, it was wrong place at the wrong time or just whatever. But yeah, so we got jumped when we came out. And I tried to break up a fight of a man getting attacked. And then I got attacked myself. So that's it. That's the bottom line.
I mean, unbelievable. So here she is, Holly, and she's out with friends in Cincinnati, and they see a fight, and she tries to break it up. So far, the radio broadcast has a theme to it, and that is if you try to help someone who is under duress or under attack, then you yourself obviously will be attacked.
Yeah.
And all she was trying to do was try to help this guy who was, again, being viciously attacked. And, I would never try to dissuade people from trying to help other people who are in distress. That's what good people do. Bad people turn around and group attack innocent folks. And so you've seen the video where she was slammed by some dude, right? We played that earlier. I know Chris has played it too. And how she's laying on the ground, bloodied and motionless. And we've even talked about whether or not, Joan, you and I, we talked about whether or not she was even alive at that point.
Yeah, I thought she was dead. I really did.
So here's what she says about the aftermath of that battle and what exactly happened.
Yes, absolutely. There were 100 people there that night, and I jumped in. I was the only one who jumped in to try and save him because that was the right thing to do. And unfortunately, they attacked me as well for trying to do the right thing.
100 people around and no one called 911?
No one called 911 other than there was one person who was one of the victims who was able to get away to call 911.
So you got 100 people. Nobody calls 911. There's so many horrifying aspects to this story. Number one, there's the beatdown itself. Number two, it is the fact that Holly has not heard from the DEI-infused mayor or police chief. Number three is that you had all these people that were there, and nobody calls 911. And so we've all seen these videos where everyone is taping the beatdown on their phones, but nobody calls the authorities. Another person, by the way, a victim, called 911. 100 people there, Joan.
Yeah. And there's also the fact that there was a music fest, right? Lots of people in the area of this music fest. Not a single police officer? They didn't station police around an area where there were going to be tons of people.
That was one of the
drinking?
things. That's one of the things that folks are saying is, you got a lot of armchair quarterbacks. But here's the deal.
Sure.
Is that you bring up a great point. At least get the obvious right. If you've got any kind of a concert, this was, I guess, a jazz festival. Mm-hmm. But if you've got any kind of a concert where there's going to be large groups of people, why would you not have more police? And so that is another one of the things that is horrifying about this story is that there were no police there. By the way, once the police show up, this is, horrifying aspect number 4 or 5 of this particular story. Holly says that even once the police show up, they didn't do anything.
No. They took some of the people's information, not even all the victims, and they didn't call for backup. They didn't call for ambulance. They just kind of acted nonchalant, like it wasn't a big deal, and they were less than helpful is all I could say.
Wow.
So I wound up getting in my Uber when it showed up and went home and tried to sleep off the concussion.
She went home
my
and tried to sleep off the concussion.
Oh, my gosh. This could be a very different story.
She didn't go to the hospital. She went home to try to sleep off the concussion. Now, in fairness, she probably wasn't thinking straight. She was probably like, I've got to go home. And she didn't want to go to the hospital, obviously, for whatever reason. I can't imagine what was going through her mind. She doesn't go to the hospital. The police don't help her. The police could have taken her to the hospital. They chose not to. No ambulance, nothing. I don't know how anyone can justify any aspects of this story at all.
How about, we haven't heard from the man. We don't know how he's doing. We don't know if he went to the hospital.
No, we
We
haven't.
don't know anything about his condition.
I think he's okay. I don't believe he got as hurt as Holly did. I think Holly got what's the word when somebody hits you from behind?
Oh, cold-cocked.
Yeah. She received, it seems to me like Holly received the worst of it.
But if you watch that video, he was dragged. He was kicked in the head how many times?
That's true.
They fell on top of him. They did everything to that man.
You had women walk up and kick him with their high heels.
Yes.
It's horrible. And so I can't imagine the PTSD that Holly has. Here's another cut, real quick. No police helped her. She got no ambulance. She got no medical attention.
No, nothing at all. They do not. Yeah, they didn't even get a statement. So no, the police were very opposite of helpful, whatever the word is. So they made me feel so uncomfortable that I felt safer getting in my Uber, thinking if I just go home and just go to bed, I'm safer than in Cincinnati, because one of the videos you can see where everything had kind of ended, then all of a sudden a new group of people came over and started attacking and drug one of the gentlemen into the streets in front of a car that was trying to go down the street. And so for the police to not call for backup when there were 100 people there, some of them ran, but there were still a lot of people there. At a bare minimum, they should have called for backup. Or the ambulance, or both.
So no cops initially. Cops show up. They do nothing. No ambulance. No backup. Incredible. Do you see what I mean about there's so many different reasons to be pissed off about this story? She suffered from significant brain trauma, including a severe concussion, hemorrhaging as well. Her visible injuries included extreme bruising on both sides of her face. You can really see it.
Yeah.
A nearly swollen, shut right eye, a slightly cut bottom lip, and dark bruises around her neck and upper torso. She was knocked unconscious during the attack and has been in and out of hospitals at this point now, indicating ongoing recovery, challenges in that recovery with potential long-term effects. The police literally did nothing. She Ubered home.
That's crazy.
Incredible.
The police
enraging
didn't
and sad.
help her. Yes, it is outrageous.
Now, she does say that there is now a detective that is working with her that has been great. But can you imagine the PTSD that she's got? And this is obviously horrible for the city of Cincinnati, because not only do you have the beatdown, but you also now have Holly's story, which, by the way, it isn't over. I've got another piece of audio that I'm going to play where she absolutely breaks down in talking about all of this, because she's incredibly brave. Holly is.
Yes.
But friends, there is a silver lining to this otherwise horrific story, and it is coming up right before the news. 5:51. Joan, what's coming up in the news at 6?
Yeah, what's happening with all those Texas state Democrats who hightailed it out of their state? We've got the latest and a couple of new details for you about the arrest of Austin Drummond, that quadruple murder suspect. That all is coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:56, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 W10. Good morning to you, friends. Hope you are doing well. Joan and I are going through some of the things that poor Holly said, the beatdown victim in Cincinnati. She was on with Benny Johnson yesterday, and if you're watching on Super Talk TV, you can see the interview as well on the radio. You're listening to the audio. But she's got a massive welt under her right eye. She's got a big old cut as well. I will say, Joan, she looks a lot better than she did a week and a half ago.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I spoke earlier in the previous segment about how she probably feels a little PTSD. And you can imagine, like, she would have PTSD because of all of this. She broke down in this interview. I want to play this audio for you. This is Holly breaking down a week and a half or so after this beatdown, and she's clearly not over it.
What would my children's life and my family's be like right now if my soul hadn't stayed in my body? So I'm not okay, but thank you, everyone, for helping me with your prayers and your love, because that's what's getting me out of bed, and it's pushing me to make sure that this doesn't happen to, because I'm a mom. I would never want this to happen to my kids. I wouldn't want this to happen to my mother. I'm someone's sister. My brother has been by my side, and I could see the horror in his face, and so I don't want anyone, because it's not just me who's suffering, it's my family, it's my children, it is my mom, my brother, my aunt, uncle, like everyone who loves me. They're suffering too, because I don't even know how I'm not dead. Like, I should be dead. And so many doctors have been like, you should be dead. So just thinking about that constantly of, what would have happened if I died. I can't shake it. And that's going to be with me for a real long time.
Wow.
So that, I don't know about you, Joan. I
get teary-eyed listening
yeah, I
to
did.
her. Yeah.
I got a little teary-eyed, as a matter of fact.
Sure.
But the silver lining in all this, Joan, is that they originally, the Give, Send, Go for Holly, it started at $25,000. That was the goal. You know what the Give, Send, Go is now?
What is it?
$525,000.
I'm happy. Because think of it. She's a single mom.
Yeah, she is a single mom.
Supporting her family. So she's obviously not working right now. This is going to help her to get through.
Yeah.
And all the medical care she'll need.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm sure she's got to go to a therapist or psychologist or something to deal with all the post-traumatic stress as well.
Yeah.
By the way, if you want to give to Holly, follow me on X at Dan Mandis Show. I went ahead and posted where you can give to Holly as well. The Give, Send, Go is posted to my X feed at Dan Mandis Show. We've got a lot more straight ahead. It is Nashville's Morning News. By the way, the Super Text line is open, and your comments always welcome at 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And a couple of paving projects are running a little bit late this morning. So you've got traffic slowing down in Manchester, approaching Route 55 this morning. Looks like they may be picking that up soon. Also 24 eastbound in Joelton. That's also being paved. And so the eastbound side of 24, very slow between exit 35 and 40 while they pick up that paving project as well. Texas state Democrat lawmakers are still hiding out in Chicago and New York to avoid having to vote on a new redistricting map. ABC's Lindsay Davis spoke to Republican state lawmaker Briscoe Cain, and she accused him of choosing redistricting over helping flood victims.
Even though you're saying both would have been done, why prioritize the redistricting over the flooding victims?
I don't see why we can't do all of the above, and I don't know why there needs to be an order.
Yeah, and as for the arrest of his fellow lawmakers, he says, bring it on.
I'm glad the arrest warrants have been issued. They should not just be arrested. a grand jury needs to be convened.
Meantime, Governor Greg Abbott has asked the state Supreme Court to remove Democrat lawmaker Gene Wu from office. New details about the arrest of Austin Drummond. That's the man wanted for the murder of 4 people in Tennessee, all of them related to an abandoned baby. Jackson Police Chief Tom Corley said his department received several calls about possible sightings of Drummond around 8 o'clock yesterday morning. One of them was this man interviewed by WSMB4.
Another guy came to me and told me, like, there's somebody back there. And it was like, somebody. And I was like, immediately, it was like, it's him.
Yeah, that man said he had been painting a house with a crew when they spotted the man in the woods. Drummond had been living in a vacant building, a pool house. Police didn't release the motive for the killings, but they did say that Drummond's girlfriend is the sister of 2 of the victims. In Montana, police are still searching for yet another quadruple murder suspect. Military veteran Michael Brown is accused of gunning down 4 people in a bar last Friday. Montana Attorney General Austin Knudsen.
We absolutely have to assume that he's armed and extremely dangerous. This is clearly an unstable individual. He had access to firearms.
Police believe he's using a white Ford F-150 that was loaded with camping gear and food that was reportedly stolen. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announcing a Confederate memorial is going to be returned to Arlington National Cemetery. It's called the Reconciliation Monument. It was sculpted by Moses Ezekiel in 1914. He was a Jewish American who fought for the Confederacy during the Civil War. And after the war, General Robert E. Lee encouraged him to become a sculptor. Well, the Reconciliation Monument was removed in 2023 as the Pentagon worked to take down statues and rename military bases. Hegseth said yesterday it never should have been taken down by woke lemmings. Market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We've got the Dow futures up here 114. The NASDAQ futures are -5 right now. The S&P futures are +10. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Dan Mandis here for my friends at Window Nation. Now listen, it is going to be back up towards it feels like 100-degree temperatures. So this summer, your AC has been working overtime to keep your house cool and comfortable. And now, if you are ready to change that, because you don't want your AC to be constantly working overtime, you want to be able to keep your house cool with energy-efficient windows. My friends at Window Nation, they can help you do that. Replace your old or builder-grade windows with custom-built, high-quality windows, energy-efficient windows from my friends at Window Nation. Now, what they're going to do, they're going to come over, and I've got 4 windows in my home from Window Nation. Love these folks. Now, they're going to come over. They're going to measure 3 times to ensure that your windows fit perfectly and keep your home comfortable year-round. You want to keep the cool air in and the hot air out. Energy-efficient windows from Window Nation. They're going to help you do that. Now, this month, a great deal. Call it the Dan Deal from Window Nation. Get 50% off all window styles, plus 0 money down, make 0 payments, and pay 0 interest for 2 full years. That's right, you pay nothing until 2027. I trust Window Nation. They've got an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and a 50-point inspection of every window before it leaves the factory. Check them out today, 866-90-NATION. Find them online, windownation.com. Don't forget that great deal, 50% off all window styles, 0 money down, 0 payments, and pay 0 interest for 2 full years, windownation.com.
Looks like you got delays in Jolton this morning on 24, the eastbound side between exit 35 and 40 as they pick up that paving project. It's the same story on 24 in the westbound lanes in Manchester, approaching 55. You've got that paving project still going on this morning, and that's causing some delays as well. Otherwise, it's looking good on the major roadways heading in. And just a note this morning that Murfreesboro schools go back to school today. You'll want to watch for all those extra buses. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.607 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Really, really interesting turn of events. Joan, I heard you reporting earlier with the Ghislaine Maxwell, and should that interview that she did with the DOJ, should those transcripts be released?
Yeah.
Really fascinating. You know, apparently she dished on like 100 names. And so I don't know, what do? Do you redact all of those names? How do you decide what you are going to release? Because if she is accusing somebody of doing something wrong, well, there's no proof that she's telling the truth. Remember, Ghislaine Maxwell's ultimate goal is to get out of prison.
Absolutely, yeah.
So if she says that, you know, John Smith from wherever it might be did X, Y, and Z, well, you can't just put that out there. You can't just release that accusation because you don't know if John Smith actually did that. We all know that Ghislaine Maxwell is a liar.
Yeah, but I find this very interesting. Just an observation. I don't know that it means anything, but it wasn't until after that interview that the Clintons were subpoenaed.
The Clintons have been subpoenaed. That's exactly right.
So is it related?
Of course it's related. It's got to be related.
Sure.
It's got to be. She threw Bill right under the bus, as she should. Boy, they're going to be there. Do you know what? Somebody might want to do a give, send, go to the Clintons, because between Bill and his, Epstein-related issues, perhaps, and Hillary with her newfound Russiagate issues, they're going to have a lot of legal expenses as we round out 2025 and going into 2026. And you know what? As Chris Hand would say, I'm here for it.
They had the biggest give, send, go ever. They had the Clinton Foundation.
Oh my! What a ripoff that thing. Just ask the people of Haiti, right? So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah. And so you said they were subpoenaed. I think there's so many different things that you could subpoena the Clintons on, and I think the more that we find out about Russiagate, the worse it's going to look for Obama and Hillary and Brennan and Clapper and all of these folks. And then when you talk about the Epstein situation. Now, I haven't even commented on it happened on Friday, right, where Ghislaine was sent from a prison in Florida to that, really cushy white-collar prison in Texas.
Yeah.
Where she can, she's got access to the commissary. And I think you know why she was moved, right?
No, you want to tell us?
I think she was moved. There's a couple of things. Joan knows. She doesn't want to say it. So one of the reasons why she was moved was because she got tired of hearing the other inmates there in the Florida prison. They were all making whoopee. And she was tired of how loud it was. And so they moved her to the Florida prison. or to the Texas prison.
You're not serious, are you?
I'm being serious. Yeah, that was in the news. You didn't know that?
No.
Ghislaine Maxwell literally said, from what I understand, that she could hear the other inmates in Florida making whoopee. Kids are back in school. I'm trying, folks.
Yeah.
Making whoopee. And so they sent her to this more white-collar prison in Texas. And also, I think that there was probably a deal that was made where if you talk to us, then we'll make you more comfortable in a more comfortable prison. I think that's probably what happened.
What she put those girls through for all those years,
Yeah,
she should have to listen to people making whoopee for forever.
absolutely.
And not sleep.
Absolutely. So anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything new Epstein related today. I've not necessarily seen anything on Epstein today or Russiagate. I'm still kind of going through stuff, but if there is anything of any interest, I'll be sure and report it here coming up. I do want to talk about though the fleeing Democrats. Can we talk about the fleeing Democrats for a minute? Because I think that this is obviously something that is going to be a long fight. Their redistricting fight in Texas, another day of Texas Democrats on the run as the state of Texas does its best to try and redistrict before the midterm elections in 2026. Democrat governors, of course, continue to threaten the Republicans with their own redistricting moves. And so if Texas does what they're trying to do, then these governors, Gavin Newsom, Kathy Hochul, we talked about some of this yesterday, and others, they'll do their own redistricting.
Only if they move forward to dismantling the protocols that are well established would the state of California move forward in kind, fighting, yes, fire with fire.
This is a war. We are at war. And that's why the gloves are off.
We will not let power go unchecked, right? Or let your voices and their voices go unheard.
Yeah, that, of course, Gavin Newsom, Kathy Hochul, and J.D. Pritzker. And so the president was asked yesterday, is it worth it? Because you've got New York, you've got Gavin Newsom, California, J.D. Pritzker, Illinois, and they're threatening to do their own redistricting. But, you know, I'm thinking about this, Joan, and how much more redistricting can they do in a place like Illinois, which is the poster child for redistricting? So we'll talk about that here straight ahead, because Trump said something very interesting about all of this. He was asked, you know what, with all of these different blue states threatening to do their own redistricting, which would basically cancel out, because remember, Texas could get as many as 5 additional seats in the House of Representatives if they redistrict now or before the 2026 midterm election. So the president was asked, is it worth it? Because all these other blue states will do the same thing. And basically, they'll cancel you out and then perhaps maybe ultimately end up with more seats than the Republicans if all of this battle of redistricting takes place. I'm going to play you what the president had to say coming up next. It is 6:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather today, it's going to be around, 88 degrees is what we said, Joan, and then it's going to feel like 100 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hot again.
Ugly.
Mm-hmm. So the president was asked yesterday about this whole redistricting thing.
If Texas redrawing their congressional map would get you 5 safe red seats, means that California, New York, Illinois, and Maryland are all going to redraw their maps to add safe.
Well, they'll do it anyway.
Is it worth it?
I mean, that's a good question. Donald Trump, they're going to do it anyway. Now, in fairness, because I always like to present, all the sides, nobody was talking about this redistricting mid-cycle until Texas brought it up. So there is that. But you've been hearing about all of this, and basically, again, the typical protocol is that a state would redistrict every 10 years when the census comes out. But over the years, states, and I went into granular detail on this yesterday, they call it mid-cycle redistricting. And you've got the left, they're up in arms over this, of course. Well, the reality is that California and Illinois, they've done these things, mid-cycle redistricting. So all of a sudden, Texas doing it now, everybody is freaking out. Well, the reality is the Democrats have been doing this for a long time. Texas wants to do it now, and these crazed Democrats from the state, they bolted so that the state legislature would not have a quorum. As far as California goes, by the way, if you start looking at all this, the Orange County Register actually has an article that is saying that California's constitution actually does not allow mid-cycle redistricting. So basically what they're saying is Gavin Newsom coming out and saying this, he would have to change the state's constitution, and they don't believe that there is enough time to do all of that in time for 2026. So Gavin Newsom either doesn't know what's in the state constitution, according to the Orange County Register, or he's just blowing smoke.
Hey, did you know that there are...
Probably weed.
Probably. That there are 8 states that have 0 Republican House seats?
Massachusetts is one.
Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, Hawaii, New Mexico, Connecticut, and Delaware. And there are 3 states that have just 1 seat for Republicans, Maryland, Oregon, and Maine. And in Maryland, they tried to redistrict that 1 seat.
Yeah.
So what they did was they did do it. They made it like a little, Maryland is split into 2 sections by the Chesapeake Bay.
Okay.
They made it so that that representative has a little bit on this side of the bay and a little bit on that side of the bay. So it made it impossible for him to win.
Well, and you look, and President Trump brought this up as far as Illinois goes. They already have a congressionally lopsided 14-3 advantage. So how much more can they get by, like, how crazed is your redistricting going to look if you're going to try to squeeze out another seat? And I'm sure that they could probably do it. I have no idea. But Donald Trump, he is pointing all of this out. And he also pointed out, the president did, that he got 45% of the vote in Illinois. Yet Republicans only have 3 congressional seats.
Yeah, they'll do it anyway. Why? If we stop over there, they would have done it anyway. Look, a lot of these states, I watched this morning as Democrats are complaining, and they're complaining from states where they've done it, like in Illinois, like in Massachusetts. I watched this lunatic, Pocahontas. She's a total lunatic. I don't know what she's on. She's all jumping up and down like I've never seen anything like it.
That's so funny. We played that audio yesterday that he's referring to, where she was on CNBC, and she's desperately trying to sell the virtues of that communist, Zohran Mamdani, that is running for mayor in New York. So we played that Elizabeth Warren audio yesterday. And so there's a lot to this story that the media simply is not sharing with you. The perspective that really it is the Democrats that is the party of redistricting, although certainly Republicans have done it in the past. Both sides do it. But Democrats are notorious.
We have to start with an independent investigation of Donald Trump.
That is Elizabeth Warren, by the way. And the reason I'm playing that 8-year-old piece of audio from 2017 is because nothing has changed. They're still calling for investigations into Donald Trump today in 2025. So if the Democrats ultimately are able to redistrict their way to the majority in the House of Representatives, you know what's coming up, friends. Number one, clearly all progress is going to stop. And number 2, impeachment papers will be drawn up if they haven't already been drawn up, and they will do what they can to impeach the president, Donald Trump, yet again. I mean, this is what they do. Now, I believe that this redistricting fight, it is going to turn really ugly.
If you look at what's going on with the redistricting, or whatever you want to call it, the Democrats have done it long before we started. They've done it all over the place. They did it in New York. They did it in a lot of different states. But in Massachusetts, so somebody used this as an example today. I was interviewed this morning, and they said, it's pretty unfair. Trump got 40%. I'm not proud of that, but I think I probably got more, but that's okay. I got 40% in Massachusetts, and yet they have 100% of the vote in terms of Congress. So there's no Republican, there's no anything. So we should have 40%. You know why? They redistricted.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that goes right into what you were talking about, Joan. Now, Trump, of course, accurately says that, yes, Democrats have destroyed our country. So what would happen if they ended up with control of the House of Representatives? We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. The Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Joan Jones has the news coming up at 6:30. Joan, what you got?
Yeah, I want to tell you about a new bar in Nashville. That doesn't sound like anything new, but this one has a twist. We've got that story coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here, 622, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A question for you, my friends. I've been asking you this question for, it feels like a couple of years. I know you're getting tired of it, but it is a really important question. What would happen if your roof was destroyed in a storm, and would your home insurance company cover that replacement cost? And a lot of you still don't know. And if you don't know, you really do need to ask, because some insurance companies refuse to pay full replacement cost. They're going to deduct money for an older roof, and that means that the insurance company is going to depreciate how much they pay for your roof claim. If you've got an older roof, they are going to pay you less. That could leave you on the hook for thousands of dollars. My friends at King & Associates Insurance, they are looking out for you. They will pay full replacement cost. Doesn't matter how old or new your roof is. It is going to be replaced, period. It is that kind of focus on customer service that makes King & Associates Insurance one of the best insurance companies around. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out at 615-329-8121, 615-329-8121. Get that royal review, tkinginsurance.com. 628, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So what is going to happen if the Democrats ultimately end up with the House of Representatives and controlling the House? Well, Donald Trump spoke a little bit about this yesterday, and we all know what happened during the Biden years, and we all know what the Democrats are capable of.
We've watched the Democrats destroy our country in 4 years. They've destroyed, between their open borders that we talked about, transgender for everybody, all of the horrible things that they've done, high taxes, horrible medical provision for people. We've watched them destroy our country.
Yeah, and there's an interesting story actually on Fox News that I was just reading, just real quickly. You know where John Kerry lives in Massachusetts? Boston. The Boston area is just beautiful with the cobblestone streets and the really old buildings that are townhomes and homes and so forth. In Massachusetts, that area where John Kerry used to live is, I don't know if he still lives there, but it is absolutely littered with drug addicts and feces and needles and all of the things that we have all come to expect from a city that is ruled by Democrats. And so Donald Trump is spot on. It is 6:30 on Nashville's Morning News. Coming up, Donald Trump gave a bit of an indication as to who he is predicting to run for the White House in 2028. I'm sure that you probably know by now. I've got some thoughts on this. It is all straight ahead on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There's an accident this morning in Midtown. It's on Church Street, west of 15th Avenue North. Watch it in that area this morning. President Trump has sent his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, to Russia for a meeting this morning with Russia's leader.
U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff has met with Russian President Vladimir Putin this morning. This is Witkoff's fifth visit to the Kremlin as the U.S. tries to secure a ceasefire in Ukraine. The pair were seen smiling and shaking hands, but Russia has shown no signs of stopping its war. This Friday marks the deadline President Trump has set for Russia to end the war in Ukraine, threatening a secondary wave of tariffs and possible sanctions if Russia does not comply.
That's ABC's Guy Davies at the Foreign Desk. The week-long manhunt for quadruple murder suspect Austin Drummond is over. Police in Jackson, Tennessee, took him into custody in a wooded area early yesterday, saying that he had been hiding out in an abandoned pool shed.
Thought he could outrun us, but he was wrong. That's because together we cannot be stopped. Law enforcement from every level and the people who call West Tennessee home did our parts.
That's Tyrese Miller of the U.S. Marshals Service for the Western District of Tennessee. He said there were countless tips from the public and overwhelming support for law enforcement. A new bar in Nashville, but this one has a twist. It's a sober bar. Only non-alcoholic drinks are served at Redemption Bar on Lower Broadway. The Blackout Betty singer says that opening that bar is a celebration of her 3 years of sobriety. It's located on the 5th floor of Eric Church's venue called Chiefs. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 6:32 on Nashville's Morning.
You all right there?
You know what?
Wow.
Hold on.
Okay. It's a rough morning. Yeah.
You know what I think is going on with, I've had some terrible problems with my voice the last couple of days. I'm really trying, is the weather change.
Yes.
Something has happened, and I think this is part of my allergies, that they've just been coming roaring back the last couple of days, and it's really getting into my throat. So I'm trying. Let's talk about Comcast. It is officially moving season, a time filled with hours of packing, unpacking, and so much bubble wrap. But the first thing you should do when moving into your new home is to make sure that the Wi-Fi is booming with Xfinity. Now, it is super quick and easy to set up, and then boom, you'll have your new home hooked up with the ultimate Wi-Fi experience, faster than the time it takes to parallel park a moving truck. Then you'll be back online with the most reliable Wi-Fi with the best in-class equipment from my friends at Xfinity. So you can just kick back, relax, and stream your favorite movies and TV shows while someone else deals with all of those boxes. Because with Xfinity, the only thing you'll have to worry about is remembering where you pack the remote. Make the right and easy move with Xfinity. Learn more at xfinity.com/move. Restrictions apply, not available in all areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi claim based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed broadband experience report, August 2024. Dan Mandis here for my friends at DT McCall's, a great Tennessee company that is here for their fellow Tennesseans with great prices, selection, and value. They've been doing this for over 100 years, 3 generations, as a matter of fact. And if you need it, they've got it at DT McCall's. Terrific indoor furniture, appliances as well. Whatever you need, go to DT McCall's. I bought a bunch of stuff there, as a matter of fact. Indoor furniture, if you've got a room to fill, go to DT McCall's. Appliances, if it plugs in, they've got it. And they've always got specials going on to save you money right there on the front page of their website. Specials, great prices on all the best brands of appliances, washer and dryer sets, dishwashers, and a whole lot more. And with that 100 years in business, they've had this terrific focus on customer service, which, by the way, is why they've been here for over 100 years. And by the way, as well, if you buy it, they are going to deliver it for free and haul away the old stuff. DT McCall's, 5 locations all across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com.
Okay, so you've got an accident this morning at Burkett Road and Whitmore Lane in Nashville. Otherwise, this morning, it looks pretty good heading in. Just normal volume delays on 24 and 65 heading in from the north. Looks like traffic is starting to slow down on 24 westbound side around the Laverne area. And same thing for 40. It's normal volume delays heading west into Nashville. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.638, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coming up here in just a little bit, we're going to talk about Donald Trump and who he is predicting, who he thinks will be the presidential ticket for the Republicans in 2028. But first, Joan, you forwarded me a story.
Yeah.
That it looks like Howard Stern may be retiring here at the end of his contract, which is coming up. Now, one of the things that I thought was interesting, because I've read a couple of different stories on this.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, everybody knows the history of Howard Stern. And one or two of the stories that I read, they spoke about how Stern's politics may have something to do with their decision not to renew him. At least and dude is like 71 years old, so he doesn't have to do this. But they said that the amount of money that he would be demanding in a new contract, it wouldn't be worth it to them to re-sign him for a couple of different reasons. Number one, it's a lot of money, and they can't justify that expense no matter how many people are listening to him on Sirius XM. But they also say that he's blown off half of America. And so a lot of people have abandoned Howard Stern because they feel like two things. Number one, he abandoned them by ridiculing and criticizing and demeaning Donald Trump supporters.
He actually said, if you're a Donald Trump supporter, do not listen to my show ever again. Get off my radio.
Yeah, there was that.
Yeah. So I feel like this is the ultimate FAFO, right?
FAFO?
Fool around and find out.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Right. Yeah, and I think that they're just looking at all of this and they're saying, you know what? Trump is, or I should say, Howard Stern, he's not worth the trouble.
Mm-hmm.
He is clearly not worth the trouble. And I think that for, the folks over there at Sirius XM, I think that Stern just completely changed. When he went over to satellite radio,
yeah,
and I don't want to belabor the point, but when he went over to satellite radio, he was still cutting edge. He was really, he was doing his Howard Stern stuff and all the things that he did. But eventually, when he went over to satellite, he was allowed to say the F word behind the microphone, and he was basically able to do anything he wanted to do. And you know what happened, Joan? He became tame.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't funny anymore. You know what? I feel like he and David Letterman have the same trajectory. Like their careers just went right out the window when they got older, grumpy, no more fun, and hated Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Like they both did the same thing.
Well, they got their TDS.
Yeah.
They have their TDS. And, you would have thought that after the beatdown that Hillary took in 2016, that he would have, sort of gone more center. But he went further to the left.
Yeah.
Howard Stern did. So now they're just saying, part of the story is, I think that what's going to happen is they are going to agree to part ways. And I don't know what Stern's going to do. The other thing, though, is that they want to buy his archives. So Stern, trust me, this is a guy making $100 million a year or whatever it is.
He is not hurting for money.
He is not hurting for money. And they plan on running, I guess, all those old tapes so they can buy the archives. And so that'll just run forever. So you know what he's really good at? Interviewing musicians.
Well, he used to be.
No, he still is.
Is he? Okay.
He's still good at interviewing musicians. And he does good interviews when, he puts his mind to it, obviously, and they're not bagging on Donald Trump or, he's not telling people not to listen to his show if they are supporters of Donald Trump. I don't know how many people. Let me ask you a question. If somebody said to you, if your favorite radio personality said to you, Joan, this is actually an interesting thought. If a super text line is open. I want to know from the people on the super text line as well. If your favorite radio personality said to you, don't listen to me if you're a Donald Trump supporter, would you stop listening or would you still listen? Because there are those hate listeners.
Yeah. You have them.
Yeah, I do.
I
still
read
don't get
the
it, but
texts
whatever.
all the time, right? Yeah. I don't get it, but
yeah,
there are people who stick around. But I think that people, he was really just preaching to the audience at that point, because at that point, everybody knew that he hated Donald Trump.
Right.
And if you had been listening to Howard Stern and he had just been going on and on and on, you already tuned out.
Well,
So-
and here's the thing. 7882 brings up what I believe is actually a fair retort to that. Well, Dan, you've blown off half of America too. But there's a difference. The difference is that, I am catering to a conservative audience. But I have never said I welcome hate listeners. I welcome the emails and the text messages. I welcome all of that. I've never told anyone not to listen to my show.
Right.
And if you want to fuel your hatred by listening to me, thank you. And here's the other thing is that I don't actually despise the hate listeners. Like, if they want to listen, great, bless your heart. And I don't mean that in the snarky Southern kind of way. You may hate me, but I don't hate you. But, just like, country stations play country music and rap stations play rap music or whatever, conservative talk radio stations talk about things from a conservative standpoint, and liberal stations talk about things from a liberal standpoint. It's all about programming to a specific type of person. Howard Stern, when he was on in New York and wherever else he was on, Detroit and so forth, he blew off people that were more conservative because he had that outrageous show and all the things that he did, but he kind of tamed out, whatever. But I may be blowing off half of America, but I've never told half of America not to listen to my show. So I think that is the answer to 7882. And please trust me, half of America is not listening to my show. A quarter of America is not listening to my show. I wish I had the more people in Nashville listening to my show because they could learn something. I'm just kidding. So I don't know. I am curious. I don't have time to read all the text messages that are flying in now, but I am curious if your favorite radio host told you, or you know what? Here's the other. Maybe it's your favorite actor. It's one thing to, and go with me here, Joan. Like make sure that I'm tracking. So if your favorite actor, if you knew that your favorite actor was liberal, but he never said, F you, don't watch my movies, then that's a little different. Just knowing that that guy is liberal, but he's never personally said, I don't want you to listen or watch to my whatever. There's a difference between that and what Howard Stern did, where, as Joan said, he literally told people not to listen to his show or watch it on YouTube and so forth. So those two things, there is a big difference. When you personally insult and you tell people, don't listen to my show if you are a Donald Trump supporter, I don't know how you come back from that. And that's why Sirius XM is not going to renew his contract. They said there's a lot of stuff regarding politics with all of this. So I do believe that there is a difference.
Wow, this is interesting. 0772. Dan, I used to hate listen 9 years ago. I was so far left, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'm now a full-blown conservative, and so is my wife.
There you go.
Congratulations.
I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love when I get those kinds of...
yeah.
Somebody said they were listening, because I do... Oh, wait, we're going to do traffic real quick. Let's check the roads on WTN. .647, and as far as your weather goes, it's going to be hot today, possible showers as well. 89, it feels like 100 degrees. So I actually did a little reel yesterday. You know what those are, Joan? Reels for Facebook and YouTube and Rumble and all that. Yeah. So I went over to Chris's house yesterday, and he showed me how to do it. We did a quick little one. So if you go to my social media or the station's social media, YouTube, whatever, there's a little reel of me, and I'm talking about Kamala Harris. Guy says I look like Jim Carrey without hair.
I saw that and I thought, that doesn't.
I don't know about that, man. Yeah. I don't know about that. But you know what? Whatever. But somebody said, they listen out of, New York.
Oh.
Some of the rural areas out there in New York, because the state of New York does have some rural areas as well. Thank you for that. But I do find it interesting that there are those people who started listening 9 years ago. I've been here for 11 and a half. And they start out, like that person said, they start out as hate listeners, and then and then listening slowly but surely to the hosts, they become conservatives. I absolutely love that. The other thing that I love is when and it happens almost every remote that we have, young adults will come up and, maybe, I don't know, whatever, 20, 21, 22, and they'll say, my dad and my mom, whatever, they'd pick me up from school, and you were in the car 12 to 3, or WTN was in the car, we listened, and they've grown up listening to me and the radio station. And they are fine, proud, good conservatives. That is the other thing that is so gratifying about, working in radio and doing what we do. So I don't know, the whole Howard Stern thing. It doesn't surprise me that SiriusXM is going to be like, yeah, no, we can't afford $100 million, and he's going to want more. And they're probably, to be perfectly honest, because of the fact that he has blown off half of America and literally told them not to listen to a show, they're probably having a hard time making money, monetizing his program. So that's also a part of the discussion. Okay, real quick. Donald Trump said this about 2028. Mr. Producer, is my audio up? All right, this is Donald Trump, 2028.
Morning, that you probably won't be running for a third term. This weekend, Secretary of State Rubio said that he thought J.D. Vance would be a great nominee. You could clear the entire Republican field right now. Do you agree that the heir apparent to MAGA is J.D. Vance?
Well, I think most likely, in all fairness, he's the vice president. I think Marco is also somebody that maybe would get together with J.D. in some form. Mm-hmm. I also think we have incredible people, some of the people on the stage right here. So it's too early, obviously, to talk about it, but certainly he's doing a great job, and he would be probably favored at this point.
So that is Donald Trump talking about J.D. Vance. I think, and I saw some folks on social media say that a J.D. Vance Marco Rubio ticket would be the most formidable ticket that the Republican Party has seen in forever. Because you know what? When we had Trump and Mike Pence, Pence, obviously vanilla. I personally wasn't a big fan of Mike Pence outgoing for obvious reasons. I don't want to relitigate all of that. I do believe that Trump and J.D. Vance, obviously, clearly a formidable ticket. So I would say that a Vance and Rubio ticket would be incredible. Now, some people, though, Joan, might say, well, you know what? I think J.D. Vance should be the running mate again, and Marco Rubio, because he has been very successful as a Secretary of State.
Oh, yeah.
He should be at the top of the ticket. This would be an instance where you could literally make the argument that the running mate should actually be at the top of the ticket, and the top of the ticket could be the running mate again. You know what I mean? So you could very easily, or just as easily, make the argument that Marco Rubio should be at the top of the ticket and J.D. Vance could be the running mate again, although I'm reasonably certain that J.D. Vance doesn't want to do that. I think most people are predicting that J.D. Vance will be at the top of the ticket. I believe that he should be. You know what the problem, though, with that is? Can you Google real quick, Joan, how old is Marco Rubio? Because
right
if Rubio is the running mate,
54.
54. Okay. So let's say that J.D. Vance runs and wins Marco Rubio as the running mate. That would mean that Rubio would be 56 or 57 once he is in office with Marco Rubio would be 57 once J.D. Vance is in office, 57, 61. So, okay. So Marco Rubio would be about 65.
He'd be fine.
Yeah, if J.D. Vance serves 2 terms. So Rubio, I mean, I think that would be incredible. Yes. You could have J.D. Vance for 8 years. I mean, chickens hatched, all that. Trust me, friends, I know. You're screaming at the radio. But think about it. J.D. Vance for 8 years, and then you got Marco Rubio teed up for, at least another 1 or 2 terms.
And
I think that is incredibly formidable.
JD would be, he's 41 now, so, he'd be pretty young, too, when he retired from the presidency.
It's exactly right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm a big J.D. Vance fan, a big J.D. Vance fan. All right, 6:52. By the way, that is our YouTube poll question of the day, which is who would you prefer? What did I say? I said J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio. How do you like this ticket? Love it, hate it. And I'm curious as to what people are saying on YouTube. Have we, Louis? Louis in for Sam today. Louis, do we have the results so far of the YouTube poll?
Yeah. So 91% says love it, hate it. It's 3%, and 6% says they don't care. They're all corrupt.
There you go. That was my thing at the end. They hate it. They're all corrupt. All right. I'm having some computer issues in here, so I cannot play the news sounder. So, Joan, I'm just going to throw it to you. Joan, what is coming up in the news at 7?
Well, you can hear from one man who may have placed the call that led police to quadruple murder suspect Austin Drummond. His words coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I think I could finish the last 2 hours, though, right, Joan? Can I do that?
I think you can.
Somebody's got to work on the day parting of that promotional announcement. Come on, people. Totally kidding. Zintex, Z-I-N-T-E-X. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Zintex. You know, your bathroom is one of the biggest selling points when it comes to getting your home sold. And Zintex can help you with a huge upgrade and a special price and offer for my listeners. Now, with Zintex, you can upgrade your bathtub into a walk-in shower with grab bars and a bench seat from Zintex. Now, obviously, this can help the older folks in your life, and a bathtub redesign can make your bathroom look spectacular. It can make all the difference in the world. Now, Zintex is an amazing company, family-owned and operated for 25 years, and they were the 2022 winner of the BBB Torch Awards for Ethics, and last year, they were voted one of the best places to work in the construction industry. Zintex, I love these folks. This is why I put my trust behind Zintex. Your work is going to be done in a day or less, and right now, that great offer for my listeners. You mentioned WTN, you get a free Kohler toilet, and you can get $999 off your bathroom project or enjoy no interest for 2 years. Whatever works best for you. Find them online, Zintex, Zintex.com. 7 o'clock, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Bryon Wilson is going to join us after the news at 7. We'll find out what is on Bryon's mind. And I've got a few questions for Bryon as well, including the federalizing of Washington, D.C. Donald Trump talking about that yesterday. So got a lot more straight ahead. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Authorities say quadruple murder suspect Austin Drummond hid out in an abandoned pool shed and had several weapons during part of the day's long manhunt, which ended on Tuesday, yesterday, with his arrest in Jackson.
It's incredibly concerning. I mean, we've been scared. We've locked the doors. We've kept the video cameras rolling and all the lights on at night. My kids have been scared. It's scary. It's unheard of. It's wonderful that he's been caught. Praise the Lord.
Yeah, police say that Drummond murdered an uncle, the parents, and the grandmother of a baby that he abandoned 40 miles away. They don't know why. They say that he was murdered, and they haven't said how he killed the family, but they are saying that Drummond's girlfriend was the sister of two of those victims. Lawyers for Jeffrey Epstein's former companion, Ghislaine Maxwell, oppose a plan from the Justice Department to release grand jury transcripts in the Epstein case, with the appeal of her conviction still pending. Meantime, the Trump administration is now considering publicly releasing transcripts from last month's interview between Maxwell and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Here's ABC's news chief correspondent Aaron Katersky.
The Justice Department is considering whether to release a transcript of Ghislaine Maxwell's two-day meeting with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. This was a highly unusual meeting arranged by Ghislaine Maxwell. She is seeking a reprieve from her 20-year prison sentence. She met for 9 hours over 2 days with Todd Blanche, who was once President Trump's personal attorney.
Now, after those interviews, Maxwell was transferred to a minimum security prison. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Stocks lost ground Tuesday on reports of weaker than expected business activity in the service sector. The Dow Jones gave up 62 points, but still closed above 44,000. The S&P lost 0.5%. The Nasdaq fell 0.6. Oil went the other way Tuesday, rising on President Trump's threats of tariffs on India if that country continues to buy Russian energy. Both Brent crude and West Texas Intermediate futures picked up 0.6% yesterday. Two of the biggest names in sports are teaming up, with ESPN buying the NFL network. The deal includes the NFL's popular Red Zone channel and fantasy leagues. In exchange, the NFL gets a 10% stake in ESPN, which is owned by ABC News parent company Disney. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Could be a nice start on Wall Street. We've got Dow futures plus 142 right now. The Nasdaq futures are up 49, and the S&P futures gaining 14 points. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, it's a crash this morning involving some injuries on Charlotte Pike, east of Brook Hollow Road. Also, another one on Murfreesboro Pike in Antioch. This one is east of Pinhook Road. And then you've got an accident as well in the area of the airport. Wow, where did that go? Elm Hill Pike, east of Airport Center Drive. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.707 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in to a Wednesday, and that means that it is time to visit with our good buddy Bryon Wilson. Bryon, how are things going?
It's going well, Dano. How's your day going?
So far, so good. Now, let me ask you, because we have a list of things. We got a lot of things that we want to get to, Bryon.
Right.
So the most intriguing to me, though, is Tulsi Gabbard talking about aliens. And not illegal aliens. We already know they exist. Trust us. No, but we're talking about like flying saucers and stuff.
Interesting. Yes, she was doing an interview with Miranda Devine over at the New York Post on her podcast, and she says, "Look, it was asked, do you think that there are aliens out there?" And she said, she started hemming and hawing, like, I have my own views, and in this role, I have to be careful about what I share. Pressed on whether she believes the possibility of extraterrestrials and UFOs, she answered, yes. We are continuing to look for the truth and share that truth with the American people. And she says she has a lot of questions about the drone sightings that were over New Jersey late last year, said that, I still have a lot of questions. It was happening in different parts of the country. So she's hinting that indeed that, she's seen stuff out there, and suggesting that her own personal view, although maybe it's not the official view of the intelligence community, her personal view is that, yes, they exist.
Well, she's being very coy. This is some of that audio.
We've had some declassification of some very strange videos that look like they are, unidentified flying objects. Is there anything in the files that you think you could find or you have found?
Nothing that I'm prepared to talk about today.
See, I mean, the entire nation wants to know what is going on. And how crazy is it, Bryon, that this is a story that I know that it's leading, I guess, some newspapers or whatever. But I mean, there's so many things going on that this isn't like 24/7, 365. Oh my gosh, the aliens are here.
I know, but it is interesting to hear her say that.
Oh, it absolutely is. One more cut real quick.
And the New Jersey, the strange objects over New Jersey were drones.
I still have a lot of questions around
that. Yeah.
I've heard what the public official line is. I just personally still have a lot of questions that are unanswered.
She does throw in personally, doesn't she?
Yeah, she sure does. She sure does. So I don't know. One of the things that I read, and then we'll move on to something else, but one of the things that I read, Bryon, and I think you and I spoke about this like way back when, was we, of course, have been trying to, we send out like pulses and sort of signals way out into outer space to try to let the aliens know, hey, we're here, here
we are.
and I read this whole thing. It was fascinating, where the author of the article was saying, we are really, really dumb to tell the aliens that we're here, because more than likely they have a lot better technology than we do, and they may not be really friendly. And this person was talking about, this scientist or whatever, was saying that we should really actually simply be keeping our head down.
Yeah, there are those who believe that, and look, I have my own. I've always wanted to see a UFO, and I've never seen anything that I couldn't explain. And I said, unlike Ken Weaver, who claims to have seen a UFO.
He does.
Yeah, but I've never seen one. But I'm fascinated by it, and I'm fascinated by what some of these pilots have said. Look, I don't know if we'll ever get the truth out of it, and it's one of these stories, sort of like the Epstein affair. Even if they came out with every document they had, we would always suspect they haven't told us the entire truth.
Yeah, and Tulsi Gabbard has come out and actually said the grand jury is asking for more documents.
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know. Where do you think this whole thing is going with There's two things. There's two big stories right now, Bryon, that are sort of looking backward, but are very relevant today. You've got, of course, the Russiagate situation with Obama and Hillary and the dirty dossier and all of that, and you've got Epstein as well. And one of the story arcs, part of that story today is that there is a discussion about whether or not they will release the transcripts of that interview that Ghislaine Maxwell had with the DOJ and Todd Blanche. I don't see how
there's a story, by the way, out there today that I read this morning that said that nothing that came out of that interview was hurtful to Trump. I don't think they'd be offering to even discuss that if that were the case. So, I think that might come out. You get into very dangerous territory when you start talking about releasing grand jury transcripts.
Right.
That's just something that is not done in the American jurisprudence system. But one way or the other, maybe this is the way around it. Although, again, I'm of the opinion that, they could come absolutely 1,000% clean and tell us everything that's in the file, and we still wouldn't believe it.
Right.
And because we're so skeptical and untrusting of government. So who knows? It's a weird time right now in Washington. I mean, you had big balls who got beat up.
Yeah.
You had Trump climbing on the roof of the White House for Lord knows whatever reason.
Yes.
And a talk about getting maybe nukes on the moon, a nuclear power plant on the moon.
Yep.
All of that came out yesterday. But I'm fascinated by the gerrymandering story and what's going on in the state of Texas with these renegade Democrats who've scattered to the four winds.
Yeah, this story, and I spoke about this last couple of weeks, but certainly in the last couple of days, where the Democrats are screaming bloody murder, but the reality is, and we can talk about the mid-cycle redistricting, which is what Texas is trying to do.
Right.
The Democrats, Bryon, as you know, they have been doing this very thing for a long time.
They gerrymandered the crap out of the state of Maryland when I was there. And I mean, you look at one of those districts and it looks like a spider.
Yes.
Look, the Democrats have no room to talk here, and Republicans have done it, and Democrats. This is the consequence of winning an election. And I think there's probably a pretty good chance that Governor Abbott will prevail in all of this if they can. But the question is, how do you get the killer D? I call them killer Ds because they're trying to kill the redistricting in Texas by fleeing the state.
Yes.
So, what are the killer Ds? How do you solve that problem? And there's been some talk about sending the FBI. Yeah. I would send the Texas Rangers, but they have no jurisdiction outside of the state. And there's a real question about whether or not the federal government can get involved here. Seems like that they're reluctant to do that, in that federal, elections have always been the purview of the state, and in fact, that's what I think the Supreme Court will rule if it ever goes to the Supreme Court, that this is a state matter and it's not a federal matter. It's called, in fact, the Supreme Court has already ruled that once. They called it a non-justicable, which means that it's not. You can't take it to a federal court.
Okay.
And by the way, when we have a little time when we come back.
Sure.
I have a quiz for you.
Okay.
About gerrymandering.
Okay, very good. We'll talk about that. Got to check the traffic real quick on WTN. As far as your weather goes, it is going to be back up to feels like temperature of 100 degrees. Partly cloudy today, a high of 89. Again, feeling more like 100 degrees, and also a chance for storms. Bryon Wilson is joining us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And Bryon, as you know, talking about the whole redistricting thing.
Right.
One of the things that I find fascinating is the fact that you've got Kathy Hochul, Gavin Newsom, all these governors that are threatening to do the same thing. And I was sharing with the audience earlier, Gavin Newsom can talk a good game, but the reality is that in California, the state constitution literally says that they cannot redistrict unless they change the constitution mid-cycle. All right, so go ahead.
I mean, the Supreme Court will take up these matters when there is a racial component to them. And so that's the one exception. But in the cases that they've taken up, they have simply said, listen, the lower court ruling was right. It seems like the Supremes want these to be decided on the state level.
All right,
and,
now,
and are
Bryon,
reluctant to get in there.
I'm sorry to do this, but breaking news, Marsha Blackburn apparently has now officially announced that she is running for governor.
Well, that was a real question mark. People wondered if she was. I mean, I had heard speculation that she was, and it made sense that she might be. But yeah, I'm not shocked. But it is interesting that she's finally made her decision. I wonder why she waited, because there were other people. I mean, Rose is in the game, and others will be as well. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch. That's going to be a fascinating race.
It's going to be a lot of fun. By the way, she's going to be on with Murphy Show later today.
Good.
And so looking forward to hearing what she has to say.
Can I do my quiz for you? Because I got a quiz.
Sure. You know how much I love pop quizzes,
I know. You couldn't study for this one. So you're ready for another exciting edition of Let's Stump the Chump. You ready? Today's topic is...
Just so you know, Bryon, you're not the first person that's ever called me a chump. I've been called a lot worse, by the way.
Today's topic is all about gerrymandering. And so who is gerrymandering named after? Do we know?
Guy named Jerry, clearly.
No. Elbridge Gerry.
Okay.
You see, theoretically, when we say gerrymandering, we're saying it wrong. If it's named after Elbridge Gerry, then it would be gerrymandering.
Yes, I picked up on that. So why do they call it Jerry?
I don't know. It's one of those things that it started being pronounced one way, and everybody just sort of glommed onto it. But, I mean, historically, his name was Gary. Now, he was an important figure in history. Do you know? What was he? Was he A? Was he the Secretary of State? Was he the Secretary of the Treasury? Or was he the Vice President of the United States?
You know, the funny thing is, Bryon, I could very easily Google
Look this up, but I don't want you to do that.
I'm not going to. He was obviously, Bryon, he was the Secretary of State.
No, actually, I hit the wrong button. It's wrong.
Obviously, Bryon, he was the Vice President.
He was the Vice President of the United States. And question number 2, for whom was he Vice President?
Let's see here. Buchanan.
Let's see. I have to go. No.
I had no idea.
It was James Madison. He was the 5th vice president.
Mm-hmm.
He was vice president for only 20 months, and he died in office at the age of 70. And he was famous for signing which document, Dan? Which important historical document did Elbridge Gerry sign?
I don't know.
The Declaration of Independence.
Okay, there you go.
But there was a document he did not sign.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the Constitution.
Why?
He felt that there had to be, and he was one of the main proponents of a Bill of Rights. And his insistence on a Bill of Rights is probably one of the reasons why we have one today.
Interesting. Okay, very good. Well, thank
everything
you for the
needed to
quiz.
know about Elbridge Gerry.
All right, very good. I know we had a number of topics here. We have about 1 minute. You got anything you want to throw down real quick?
Well, let's see.
Let's do real quickly the Washington, D.C. beatdown and the federalizing of Washington, D.C. You, of course, lived in the area for a long time.
Yeah, that's right, as Joan did as well. And so here's the thing. It is a federal city, and the federal government can take over. And at times the federal government has taken over if they felt like the city was not doing what it needed to do to protect the citizens of the community. So there's history here. And it's generally, Republicans, when they're in control, they don't much like the way the District of Columbia is being run, and they do have the ability to impact a great deal of change. There's a thing there called local rule, but local rule can be stripped away.
And that's by Congress, of course.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, very good, Bryon. Thank you. And just another story to remind you as to why you are so thankful that you are no longer in Washington, D.C.
That's exactly right. And our thanks to the Wellness Institute of Nashville for supporting these appearances on Wednesday.
All right, Bryon, thank you very much. We'll talk to you again next Wednesday or as news requires it.
You betcha.
And always glad to have you on. It is Super Talk 99.7. WTN, it is 7:22. I don't know, Joan, you want to hear this this Marsha Blackburn video?
Oh, yeah.
That she has put out as she has announced that she is running for president of the governor of the United States. The reason I said president is that her video opens up with President Donald Trump.
Oh.
So
Governor of the United States?
Yes, Joan. Thank you for always being so helpful.
Well,
this is no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
This is Marsha Blackburn announcing she's running.
Yeah.
President Trump applauding.
Trump is back. America is blessed, and Tennessee better than ever. I'm Marsha Blackburn. Here in the volunteer state, we always lead the way. And that's why I am announcing my candidacy for governor. Tennessee is the greatest place in the world to rear a family, make a life and a living, and together we can make our great state even better. We'll make Tennessee America's #1 job-creating, energy-producing powerhouse. Deliver a world-class education for our children by empowering parents, not the deep state. And whether it takes planes, trains, or starships, we'll deport illegal aliens because respect for the law starts with enforcing it. This is Tennessee. We'll honor the Constitution, we'll value life, and we'll define our boys and girls the way God made them. I love Tennessee, I believe in Tennesseans, and I'm ready to deliver the kind of conservative leadership that will ensure our state is America's conservative leader for this generation and the next. I'm Marsha Blackburn, I'm running for governor, and I would be honored to have your support.
There you go. And it ends with a picture of Senator Blackburn and Donald Trump. So there you go. I don't know, Joan, what do you think?
So,
She's going to be on with Murphy Show 505.
Okay. I mean, from what I understand, and I can't say I know politics in Tennessee, as well as perhaps you do, but it sounds like to me that most people believe that she, will have an easy glide path right to, okay.
Yeah. Hey, let's do this. You want to take some calls?
On Marsha?
On Marsha. Marsha. Let's take some calls.
I like it.
7:35. What is this is why Louie hates working this show. Love you, Louie. Let's take some calls. Let's take the phones off hold and take some calls. Your instant reaction to Marsha Blackburn announcing that she is running for governor for the fine state of Tennessee. She's going to be on with Murphy Show 505 615 737-9986. The phone lines are open. We'll be able to take calls after the news with Joan Jones on Super Talk 99.7. And Joan, what do you got coming up?
Well, we'll tell you what Ghislaine Maxwell had to say about President Trump. Also, the convicted killer put to death yesterday and reaction from his victim's family. Those stories coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning. It's 7:30 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The House Oversight Committee demanding files from the Justice Department and issuing subpoenas to some of the most powerful names in politics. This is all about the Jeffrey Epstein case.
Sources say the Trump administration is considering releasing transcripts from Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell's interview with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche this month. Sources say Maxwell told Blanche, who until recently was Trump's personal attorney, that Trump did nothing in her presence that would have caused her concern. After the interview, Maxwell was moved from a federal prison in Florida to a minimum security camp in Texas with more favorable conditions. A rare move for a convicted sex offender serving 20 years.
ABC's Nicole D'Antonio. The state of Tennessee carried out the lethal injection execution of Byron Black yesterday morning, convicted of murdering his girlfriend, Angela Clay, and her daughters, Latoya and Lakeisha, in the 1980s. Witnesses reported that Black showed signs of distress. Relatives of his victims had their say afterward.
He never apologized, and he never admitted it, even on his dying bed, that he took it to his grave with him, and he knows he did it. And this is closure for my family. My sister and her 2 daughters can finally rest in peace.
Black's attorney said that he shouldn't have been executed due to an intellectual disability. General Motors will continue making the Cadillac XT5 at the Spring Hill plant for a longer period of time. After telling workers in the spring that production would cease after August, GM now says production is going to continue into 2026, but didn't give any more details than that. Sales of that gas-powered XT5 rose 4% this year. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Dan Mandis here for the Low T Center. Listen, guys over 40, if you are running low on energy, maybe you're just feeling off, lowtcenter.com is where you need to go. Get started with testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, and join lots of guys who are going through the same thing as you. You know, they've got clinics all across Nashville, and they're really easy to get to. You walk in, you see a real medical provider, you get that energy back. It's no complicated process, just results. And remember, these treatment plans, they are tailor-made just for you. You can get treatments at the clinic or you can be treated at home, but either way, you're always going to get the highest quality of care. Right now, here in the month of August, you can get a free consultation, and if you qualify, treatment is covered by most major medical insurance. So reclaim that energy and become you again. By the way, they can also help with prescription weight loss options as well. So head on over to lowtcenter.com and book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Simple, quick, and totally worth it.
Okay, so you have a mess this morning on 65 northbound lanes in June Lake. It is closed off. June Lake exit, that's 55 up to exit 59. Again, that is because of a serious crash that has closed the highway this morning in June Lake. Hermitage, Lebanon Pike, east of Central Pike, there's a crash. Antioch, a crash on Murfreesboro Pike at Pinhook Road, and in Madison, Old Hickory Boulevard at Graycroft Avenue. There's another crash scene. But once again, it's 65 northbound side between June Lake and exit for I-840. Closed off this morning because of a serious crash. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:37, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here. Phone lines are open. 615. Yes, phone lines are now open at 615-737-9986. 615-737-WWTN. We have made the announcement. Marsha Blackburn has made the announcement, Senator, that she is indeed running for governor. I'm going to play this one more time. This is the video ad that she has released. She will be on with Murphy Show today at 5:05. Opens up with President Trump.
Trump is back, America is blessed, and Tennessee better than ever. I'm Marsha Blackburn. Here in the volunteer state, we always lead the way. And that's why I am announcing my candidacy for governor. Tennessee is the greatest place in the world to rear a family, make a life and a living, and together we can make our great state even better. We'll make Tennessee America's #1 job-creating, energy-producing powerhouse. Deliver a world-class education for our children by empowering parents, not the deep state. And whether it takes planes, trains, or starships, we'll deport illegal aliens because respect for the law starts with enforcing it. This is Tennessee. We'll honor the Constitution, we'll value life, and we'll define our boys and girls the way God made them. I love Tennessee, I believe in Tennesseans, and I'm ready to deliver the kind of conservative leadership that will ensure our state is America's conservative leader for this generation and the next. I'm Marsha Blackburn, I'm running for governor, and I would be honored to have your support.
So there you go. Marsha Blackburn, Senator, announcing that she is running for governor. Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs, apparently, Joan, is her treasurer. And so I don't know. You know what that means, right? So she will perhaps, and maybe Murphy Show will ask her at 5:05 what her plans are if she wins, because she's going to have to appoint someone to replace her in the Senate. And Glenn Jacobs, of course, a big favorite around here, Knox County Mayor, maybe that will be the person that will be
So I'm looking
appointed
on online right now to see what people are saying about that very issue.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people want Tim Burchett to be appointed to that seat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. So a couple of things. Number one, remember, Jacobs was rumored to be eyeing a run for the governorship. I don't know if you remember that, Joan.
Yeah,
but
I do remember.
So, and so I think maybe a deal was, I don't know how these things, I do know how the deals are made.
Yeah.
So maybe what happened is, okay, Glenn, if you don't run this time for governor, then you become, part of my team, and then I'll go ahead and, have you round out my my Senate seat for the next probably 5 years. She just ran again, right? So she just won.
That's right.
So there's another about 5 years or so, going to be about 4.5 years, whatever it is, for that Senate seat to have to go through again. So Jacobs will be in there for a good 4.5 years or so. And so and I'm just, kind of just talking about this. So if Jacobs is in there for 4.5 years, does a good job as replacing Marsha Blackburn as the senator, then who knows where that could lead? Because then if Marsha Blackburn wins the governorship, then Jacobs could go from the Senate seat into running for governor if once Marsha Blackburn ends her time in the governor's office. So I don't know. I mean, you also got John Rose, by the way, and a lot of people like John Rose. Tim Burchett, he was also, I believe that Tim Burchett was eyeing a run for the governorship, but I don't think I don't believe that he is going to run at this point.
Nah.
And we'll have to see what happens. There's a lot of political intrigue that goes on with these things. What are people saying, by the way, if you're online, what are people saying about, generally speaking, then I'm going to get to the phones, but what are people saying about a Marsha Blackburn run for the governorship?
I see a lot of support.
Yeah. She's got a lot of, a lot of people hate on Marsha Blackburn.
Yeah.
She's been the consummate Tennessee politician. I mean, she started and I'm not endorsing anyone. That's not what I do. Nobody cares about what I think about who I would endorse. But she was in the state legislature. She was instrumental with Phil Valentine, Steve Gill, as far as blocking the state income tax that they tried to implement. They had the horn honk and the whole thing. Everybody remembers that. Longtime Tennesseans know that a very young Marsha Blackburn was really the driving force behind stopping that state income tax that they tried to implement many years ago. I was not here at that time, but I mean, it's certainly part of the Marsha Blackburn lore. Then, of course, she was a congressperson, and now she is a senator. So she has really, for years now, been representing Tennessee in one way or another. So, she's got credibility.
I'm not seeing any negative comment.
Really? Just wait.
Yeah,
Just wait till I go to the phones.
Right. Sure.
Let's see what Matthew has to say in McMinnville on WTN. Matthew, what do you think about Senator Blackburn running for governor?
Hey, Dan, how you doing? I just have a few questions. First question would be, is how she became so astronomically wealthy, having been in the positions she's been in for years. My second question would be, is it true that the pharmaceutical industry is her biggest supporter, and how does she rectify that with the theft and abuses the pharmaceutical industries have been perpetrating to the American citizens for decades? And my third would be, all the states surrounding the state of Tennessee have 50-50 equal shared parenting by default, and if that came across her desk, would she sign that for the state of Tennessee and the children of the state of Tennessee?
How wealthy is Marsha Blackburn? I don't even know.
It varies so widely, but it's in the millions and millions and millions. Some say 30 million, some say 13 million. But that's a lot of money for being a politician that makes $100,000 a year.
And listen, Matthew, I'm going to tell you, and again, I am not advocating for anyone in the governor's race. As you folks know, I don't endorse anybody, and nobody's, well, a few people have asked for my endorsement, but that's not what I do. But my question to you, though, is, Matthew, all very valid points. Would you vote for Marsha Blackburn, or maybe would you vote for a John Rose or someone else?
You know, listen, I've been watching her for years and years. I'm 42, so I've been paying attention since my 20s. I don't know yet. I mean, Glenn Jacobs is great, which I guess he's out now. Burchett, he's great. I guess he's out now. I don't really know. All in all, I think she is a conservative voice for the state of Tennessee and Tennesseans, but I have questions, and if she is the best option, I would.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Matthew. I do appreciate it. And those are legit questions to ask. Again, I don't know what Marsha, I have heard the criticisms about the donations from Big Pharma. I have heard of those accusations. Rick is in Franklin on WTN. Hey, Rick.
Hey, how are you this morning? Listen, on the Marsha Blackburn thing, I mean, I took 14 vacation days to rally down in the Capitol building during the income tax struggle. So I've been a fan for a long time. That being said, it's starting to look kind of like a coronation. It's starting to look like a reward for a job well done. Well, she got her reward every month in the bank. She doesn't get handed the governorship, and this looks like a political calculation to the street, and the street's not liking it. I'm telling you, out here in the hinterlands of Tennessee, we are not liking the Marsha Blackburn idea. I've talked to a lot of people that are hardcore conservatives. They're saying, if they can give us anybody else, we'd be much happier.
Who would you like, Rick? I'm just curious.
I love Burchett. I love the mayor of Knoxville. There's got to be somebody else, and I'm gonna tell you the risk that they run. The risk that they run is the Democrats all of a sudden smartening up, which that's a stretch, but it can happen, and especially in Tennessee, it's happened here before, and running kind of an unknown, non-politician, business type or scientific type or military type or something like that doesn't have this background of complete lunacy that we can all go and look at online. That looks like somebody that's halfway stable and sane. Marsha Blackburn can lose this election on account of that.
Okay, so yeah, maybe an outlier, somebody who comes in, non-politician, kind of like a Donald Trump type person when he came back in 2016.
Kind of like Phil Bredesen when he mopped the floor with the Republican.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Rick. And a lot of people say Tim Burchett. And listen, I've been a Tim Burchett fan since the day that I got to Nashville, Tennessee. I've been a Tim Burchett fan.
Dadgummit.
I like dadgummit. That's exactly right.
Right.
But here's the deal. And to his point, I get it, but you can't force other people to run.
Yeah.
You can't force Tim Burchett to run. You can't force Glenn Jacobs to run. And so, and I do believe. Well, let me check traffic real quick on WTN. As far as your weather for today, partly cloudy, high of 89, going to feel like 100 degrees, chance of storms. So I think that there was, I do believe that there was probably a deal made where Glenn Jacobs was, thinking about running, and the powers that be in the Republican Party in the state of Tennessee broker a deal where they say, okay, so we don't want you to run, but if you decide not to, then you can join Marsha Blackburn's team, and then she will assign you her Senate seat. I mean, that's the only thing that I can think of that would have precluded Glenn Jacobs from running, because I mean, he is incredibly popular. Again, Knox County mayor. What was Glenn Jacobs' wrestling name? Do you know? I can't remember. Look it up. I know everybody knows but me.
Jacobs.
While you're looking that up, Kirk is on WTN. Kirk, Kane, that's right, Kane.
Yeah.
I so wanted to say Governor Kane. Anyway, go ahead, Kirk.
Well, good morning. My only concern about Marsha Blackburn, it starts at the federal level where I get it. I'm a Trump supporter all the way. But when you just rubber stamp everything that Trump does with no checks and balances, some things that maybe Pandora's out of her box and can't be put back in is this master AI plan that is coming down from the federal government. And it will affect us at the state level because the language states that they'll cut off funding to the states that will throw, adversity to anything coming from the federal government AI-wise.
Well, hey, Kirk, so I believe, and somebody can fact-check me on this, but that was in the Big Beautiful Bill. Marsha Blackburn was the one who was one of the leading voices to get that out of there. If we're talking about the same thing, there was part of the Big Beautiful Bill. You had part of it that said that states could not regulate AI. Only the federal government could regulate AI. And if I remember right, Senator Blackburn was the one who torpedoed that, and they took it out.
Exactly. But what was put in instead was that will allow it to go in the bill, but we'll cut your funding, which is almost like a mafia saying, we're going to make you a deal you can't refuse. So it's in there, but you can regulate against it, but the cost is going to be no federal funding.
All right, Kirk, maybe that'll come up during Murphy's show at 5:05. If it comes down to it, are you going to vote for it, Kirk? Yes or no?
If it comes down to that, no.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at AI as the end of jobs.
Oh, you're absolutely right there, Kirk. You are absolutely right, and I appreciate the call. Chuck is in Lebanon on WTN. Hey, Chuck, go ahead.
Yes, I know John Rose, know his family. I think he's a lot more in touch with the people. I don't have anything bad to say about Marcia, but John has done an excellent job. He's just, the way his roots are, he's really good for rural community. He's just definitely more in touch with the people than Marcia is.
So you're definitely in the primary. You would vote for John Rose.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. And listen, I like John Rose, too. He's a great guy, wonderful guy, as a matter of fact. And Nate is in Nashville on WTN. Hey, Nate, go ahead.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
2 thumbs up in my world. Go ahead.
Okay, so I moved here around 2012, and I started listening to you till Valentine. So I was 20 at the time, and I'm a child of WTN. And from what I learned from you guys is not to trust politicians.
Yep.
And not to be friendly with them. So I don't like the fact that we should still ask the hard questions instead of just assume she's the next person and she can prove to us like she deserves to be in the office.
You know what? And Nate, you're right. There are a lot of things, and I appreciate not only your comments, I appreciate the long-term listenership to WTN. I really appreciate that. She will have to answer some tough questions because I'm going to tell you this, that I believe that John Rose, and again, I'm not advocating for anyone in the primary. You do you. I'm going to cover everyone the way that I always have. But I think that John Rose would be an excellent governor. I do. I believe that he would be an excellent governor. I thought that Glenn Jacobs would be great. I think Tim Burchett would have been fantastic. And so nobody should be above reproach. And if there are questions about, how much she's worth, these are some of the questions that have come up, how much she is worth and, contributions from Big Pharma and all of that, then she's got to be able to answer those questions. Because as Nate said, here's the deal. This is not something where she is going to be anointed. She still has to earn the vote of the state of Tennessee and Tennesseans. I know that phones are going crazy, Louie, but I got one more, and this is it. This is Walker from Lebanon on WTN. Hey, Walker.
Good morning, Dan.
Morning. Go ahead.
The only thing that I have with Marcia is, like you say, with Big Pharma, but none of them are actually, denoting where they stand on certain issues. Like, I, for instance, would love to know where they stand on this, the freedom voucher that came out. Are they going to continue that kind of stuff? Or, where they stand on these certain issues, and none of them are committing to answering those questions.
You bring up a great point, Walker. You bring up a great point, which is, and I appreciate the call. I'm running way late and I got to run. But we know where she stands, on all the federal issues. But there's a lot of state issues like, Governor Lee's voucher program, the Freedom Act, I think that's what it was called. Where does she stand on state issues? Again, we know that she's conservative on the federal issues. It is now time for she and John Rose and others to start talking about the issues here in the state of Tennessee that we all care about and are incredibly curious as to where she stands on it. So we'll continue to talk about this and a whole lot more straight ahead. And if you're just joining us, Marsha Blackburn, Senator, has announced that she is now officially running for governor for the state of Tennessee. And she will be on with Murphy Show this afternoon at 5:05. It is 7:55. And Joan Jones has the news coming up at 8 o'clock. Joan.
Yeah, Dan, why the organizer of the Texas Democrats' departure, why he may be about to lose his job. Also, a Confederate memorial is being restored in D.C. We've got those stories and more coming up here at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here, 757 Loan Pronto. If you're maxed out on credit cards, if you're struggling with high interest debt, you could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. You can get cash out right now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, and as they like to say, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto, it is amazing. You know, one client got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt. They renovated their kitchen. They cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That is a huge turnaround. It's Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Call them to get started. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-499-5780, 615-499-5780. Find them online anytime. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. On approved credit, NMLS, consumeraccess.org. All right, so now we'll do contours. All right, very good. Contours. Listen, if you are having a hard time getting into that bathing suit, you need the help of Contours to get you to feeling confident again. Belly Buster Special from Contours. You want it, you got it right now. $99 when you call this number. It's 615-236-9960. 615-236-9960. The first 10 callers right now get that Belly Buster Special for only $99, and you can take advantage of Contours, their red light technology. It is not only incredibly unique, but also effective. Folks have been coming in from all across Middle Tennessee to check out Contours. You can too, or go to their website and see how it all works. It is their Belly Buster technology, red light technology. It is unique, effective, and cutting edge. That phone number, 615-236-9960. It is the Belly Buster Special. Find out more. Find out how it all works. ContoursLLC.com.
Good morning. Now 8:01. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Texas state Democrat lawmakers are still hiding out in Chicago and New York to avoid having to vote on a new voting map. ABC's Lindsay Davis spoke to Republican state lawmaker Briscoe Cain, and she accused him of choosing redistricting over helping flood victims.
Even though you're saying both would have been done, why prioritize the redistricting over the flooding victims?
I don't see why we can't do all of the above, and I don't know why there needs to be an order.
And as for arresting his fellow lawmakers, he says, bring it on.
I'm glad the arrest warrants have been issued. They should not just be arrested. A grand jury needs to be convened.
Meantime, Governor Greg Abbott has asked the state Supreme Court there to remove Democrat lawmaker Gene Wu from office, take it away from him. He said he was the one to be said to be orchestrating that mass fleeing. New details about the arrest of Austin Drummond, the man wanted for the murder of 4 people in Tennessee, all of them related to an abandoned baby. Jackson Police Chief Tom Corley says that his department received several calls about possible sightings of Drummond around 8 o'clock yesterday morning. One of them was from Ricardo Contreras. He and a team of men were painting a house in Jackson yesterday when they noticed something weird.
Another guy came to me and told me, like, there's somebody back there. And it was like, somebody. And I was like, immediately, it was like, it's him.
Yeah, they saw him in the woods. He was speaking to WSMB4. Now, Drummond had been living in a vacant building. It was a pool house. Police did not release the motive for the killings, but they did say his girlfriend is the sister of 2 of the victims. In Montana, police are still searching for yet another quadruple murder suspect. Military veteran Michael Bryon is accused of gunning down 4 people in a bar last Friday. Montana Attorney General Austin Knudsen.
We absolutely have to assume that he's armed and extremely dangerous. This is clearly an unstable individual. He's had access to firearms.
And police believe he is using a white Ford F-150 that had been loaded with camping gear and food that was reportedly stolen. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has announced that a Confederate memorial was going to be returned now to Arlington National Cemetery. It's called the Reconciliation Monument. It was sculpted by Moses Ezekiel in 1914. And it was removed in 2023 as the Pentagon worked to take down statues and rename military bases. Hegseth said yesterday, quote, "It never should have been taken down by woke lemmings." Market Numbers report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. Ahead of the opening bell here, and the Dow futures are plus 127. The NASDAQ futures up 36, and the S&P futures are gaining 10. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you very much, Joan. 8:04, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Wellness Institute of Nashville. I love these folks for so many different reasons. One big one, of course, is that they helped alleviate my chronic back and neck pain. I had it for years, went to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They helped me a lot. And right now, they've got a great special going on. $12 for a comprehensive exam, x-rays if you need them, well-explained diagnosis as well, and that first treatment for only $12 at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. That is huge. So if you have back and neck pain, if you've got sciatica, slipped or bulging spinal discs, herniated discs, spinal stenosis, numbness, or weakness in the arms and legs, check them out today. The Wellness Institute of Nashville. They can check you out, and they can help you with their state-of-the-art non-surgical spinal decompression therapy. No surgery, no spinal injections, no painkillers as well. 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009. That website, painisbad.com.
Oh, that's me, I guess, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's you, Joan.
So in June Lake this morning, it's been a mess on 65 northbound. The roadway is opened, but there is a crash that's blocking the shoulder now. It's northbound 65 past June Lake Boulevard, exit 55. Pretty slow around that, too. Now, at Priest Lake, you've got an accident as well. Murfreesboro Pike westbound near Edge of Lake Drive. And in Madison, 65 southbound side at Due West Avenue overpass. That's another scene of an accident. And just one more in Hermitage. This is on Lebanon Pike, east of Central Pike. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Good morning. Well, it's been a lively morning this morning with the announcement of Senator Marsha Blackburn announcing that she is running for governor. I thought it was interesting. You know, we took some phone calls, as y'all know, about how people felt here in Tennessee about the senator running for governor. And we went through, I mean, if you want to talk about, Tennessee cred, I mean, she's been in this state, representing this state for years and years. But people do have some issues with the senator. I mean, we had, and I'm trying to think back to everything that people said. One guy said, and it's interesting, Joan, I don't know if you did this, but if you Google or if you grok how much Senator Marsha Blackburn is worth, it's like anywhere from, $1,600 to like $1.5 million. So, and other articles say that she's worth $41 million. So I have no idea how much she's worth. And I guess I'll leave it up to, you folks listening to decide whether or not that is a relevant question. I don't believe how much one is worth is necessarily a relevant question. How they earned that money, though, is relevant. And so we'll have to see if, number one, okay, the big pharma, we've talked about all this before, but when you talk about her getting a lot of contributions from big pharma, that is true. The Tennessean has reported on this, which is, of course, very liberal. Even more liberal, Mother Jones have highlighted her donations from big pharma as well. So, and these are all, listen, I mean, this is all public knowledge. What is that?
I'm sorry. I'm talking to Chris.
Oh.
We're chit-chatting back here.
Okay,
Didn't
good.
realize my microphone was on. So.
Would you say something about me? Joan, was that what you were saying?
What, Chris, did you remember what you said about Dan?
I think Dan is like really on point today. I think that's what I heard you say when you didn't know your mic was on. Moving right along. Thank you, Joan.
We're always talking about you. Sorry.
All right, moving right along. So anyway, but the big pharma thing, that is a legit question. That is a legit question. Somebody else on the super text line said, and I don't know if this is true or not, but she lives in a big old house. I don't know. When I've met the senator on a couple of occasions, and she and I actually had a conversation about the fact that she's been in her house for a long time, but I don't know any of the details on that either. But all of these are legitimate questions, and this is what a Republican primary is for. It is to ask all of these questions, get the answers, and that all starts this afternoon right here on WTN at 5:05 with Murphy Show. Matt's got her on, and matter of fact, if you've got any specific questions that you want asked of Senator Blackburn, who wants your vote to be governor, shoot him over to Matt, because I know that Matt is he's gonna come, loaded for bear, if you will, because Matt will ask her all of the questions that he has on his mind, and I think it'll be interesting to find out what she has to say about the local issues. And one of the things that, and I saw people on the super text line, there's always concerns. There's a lot of people that are saying absolutely they'll vote for Senator Blackburn. She's been in Tennessee for a long time. People will talk about any number of things that they don't like about the senator. And, somebody asked me very directly, would you vote for Senator Blackburn? I'm going to tell you this. As a guy that has lived in Tennessee for 11 and a half years now, I think you know what I'm going to do? I think what I'm going to do, Joan, do you think this is a good idea?
Tell me.
So just so you folks know where I sit, I have interviewed John Rose many, many times. I've met John Rose on a few occasions. Same deal with Senator Blackburn. She and I go way, way back. But as of right now, I'm a blank slate. Like, I don't know who I'm going to vote for as a guy that's lived in Tennessee for a while. And I know both of these individuals really well. And so
Has she asked for your endorsement?
No.
Has John Rose?
No, that's that people, I always say this every election cycle. I don't endorse people. I just don't. I don't have that high of an opinion of myself that people are just, chiming in and they want to know who I endorse, because I don't do that. But what I am going to do is I'm just going to, as this whole thing continues to unfold, I've got no agenda. I like John Rose. I like, Senator Blackburn. So I'm not beholden to either one of these two folks, as you can imagine. So I'm just going to, go through this whole process with you folks, and I'll cover it, and we'll talk about, I like what John Rose said about this. I don't like what he said about that. As far as Marsha Blackburn goes, I like this. I don't like that. And we'll just go through it and talk about my concerns. And, Joan, maybe throughout this whole thing, this might drive the programmers crazy, but I don't care. I'll take more calls than I am usually allowed to do as we all go through this process together to decide who do we like. And maybe it's not John Rose. Maybe it's not Marsha Blackburn. Maybe it's somebody else. But when I say that I have no agenda, like literally I have zero agenda. I like both of these individuals, John Rose and Marsha Blackburn. So I'll just go through the process along with a lot of you folks. Do you know what I want to do? Hey, Louie, let's do this. Let's do on the super text line, not the super text line, the YouTube channel, the poll. Let's do a quick poll, Rose or Blackburn, and just, or undecided. Let's do Rose, Blackburn, or undecided. I'm in the undecided camp. How about you, Joan?
I'm undecided. I am a real open slate because I don't know the background of the candidates so well. So I need to do some digging, and I need to do my homework, which I hope everybody does, Like, we should know these candidates.
How important do you think it is that we know someone's actual net worth? Because Marsha Blackburn's net worth, Senator's net worth, it is like all over the place. Like that dude was right that called on the phone.
Yeah.
It is anywhere from, $8,000 to $10,000 to, some articles say it's $41 million. But now again,
it matters how she got it. Is her husband a very successful real estate developer? Like, how did she get it?
Right. That's what I mean.
Because she's wealthy does not negate the fact that, my vote, like I don't have a thing against people being wealthy.
Exactly. And I don't either. But as I said previously, how they made the money is incredibly important. So, because we got to make sure there's nothing nefarious going on. We can't sit here and, scream about Nancy Pelosi and all of these other things and all these other Democrats and some Republicans too, and just ignore, any issues on our own side. And I'm not saying there are any issues with Senator Blackburn and whatever wealth, she may or may not have. I don't know. Again, I respect her. And if she wants to come on, I'll ask her those questions. And, because those are, in my opinion anyway, those are legit questions. And so, whatever. Anyway, have we done traffic yet? We have not done traffic. 8:18. Time to check the roads on WTN. (8:18) as far as your weather goes, partly cloudy with a high of 89, feeling more like 100 degrees today, chance of showers and thunderstorms as well. I knew this was coming, Joan.
What's that?
Brandy says, because of her actions on January 6th, I will not be voting for Marcia.
Unfortunately, she's going to run into that.
Oh, absolutely,
Big
she's going to
time.
run into that. And you know what my comment on that is? If Trump has forgiven her, then that tells me what I need to know, right? Like, I'm willing to, deal with it and whatever. If Donald Trump has forgiven her, and I knew this was going to be an issue, if Trump is like, I endorse Senator Blackburn, she's been a close ally of mine for, the last, 6 years of his administration and then, a couple here once the election comes around. If Trump is cool with it, well, then why not?
Doesn't she owes it, I believe, she owes it to the people of Tennessee to address that issue and address it seriously, openly. She needs to talk about it. If she's going to gain any kind of momentum from the J6 people.
J6ers.
Yep. She has got to address it and do it fast.
Yeah, you're right. And we'll have to, I'm going to be honest with you. I forget what she said way back when. I mean, I can't remember.
I'm going to look it up right now.
See,
and I'm sure the
see
secret
how she
texters will
addressed it.
tell
I mean, I interviewed her, and I can't remember exactly what it was that she said, but I have the attention span of a gnat. So says the guy that keeps calling, Joan Pamela. So
right, exactly.
I'm sorry. Anyway, all right. So what is the real quick, if we can, Louis, are people commenting on
I have the
Senator
statement, by the
Marsha
way.
Blackburn or John Rose or undecided? What are people saying?
So 68% Rose and 32% Blackburn.
How many undecided?
None undecided.
Do you know what I love about Louis, Joan? He can make the blandest of things sound incredibly cool.
Well,
did you notice that?
Because Louis is cool.
He is cool. There is that, but
Big time coolness factor.
let's see here.
I have the statement.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this was issued on January 7th, 2021, and it was a joint statement by Marsha Blackburn and Bill Hagerty.
Yep.
Yesterday was a shocking day of lawlessness. We watched in horror as rioters breached the security of both houses of Congress and inflicted significant property damage upon those historical halls. Our republic will rise above the chaos that ensued yesterday. These violent assaults on our democratic processes threaten to unwind the fabric of this country. As Americans, we must unite in our commitment to the Constitution and the rule of law. Last part, we are grateful for the heroic law enforcement officials who helped to restore peace, allowing us to complete our work. Last night, we reconvened with our Senate colleagues to fulfill our constitutional duty to certify the 2020 election results and prepare for the peaceful transition of power. On January 20th, we will prove to the world that America is still the shining city on the hill. That was it.
All right. So that's a question. And you know what? I think that with this audience, this is definitely, and it always has been, this is definitely a big issue. Every time I interview the senator, I get hammered by people still mad about J6. So worthy of a conversation. Worthy of a conversation.
Somebody said I'd vote for an actual donkey over Blackburn.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, she has her detractors.
Well, she does. But in fairness, and again, I'm not advocating for anyone, but anybody who has been in politics for a long period of time is going to have their detractors, even on our side. There are a lot of people that will say, well, she's not really she's a rhino, right? We're going to hear that. She's a rhino and all of the other things. So
I wonder if we could get Rose and her to debate on the air here.
we're going to, you know what? Murphy Show is going to have her on today. I would love if we could have a debate with, oh, by the way, Hegseth is not running. Like, people are asking me about Pete Hegseth.
Yeah, no.
He's not
I think that was just another one of those media
Yeah.
Little spikes, you know.
Right, yeah. The media planted stories, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to host a gubernatorial debate. Wouldn't that be cool?
Awesome. I would love
I would love
that.
the station to do it. I don't want to host it, but Murphy Show would be the guy to host it. He loves that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think that would be great. And maybe, just maybe, because both of these individuals have been on our airwaves for years, frankly, that I think that it would be appropriate to have a gubernatorial debate hosted by Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I think that'd be phenomenal. So, you know what else I want to know? On the Super Text line, 615, which is going crazy, by the way. What is your biggest issue? Like, here for the state of Tennessee, do you have a biggest issue that you will vote on? Like, what is the issue that you want answered? You know, what are you going to vote on? Is it fighting illegal immigration? Is it education? Is it, trying to make Tennessee as business friendly as possible? I mean, what is your biggest, most profound issue that you're going to vote on? I think that's also a very good question. So let me know on the Super Text line, 61573. Why am I running late every single break? Louis, this is on you, man. Come on, dude. I'm just kidding. It's all on me.
Louis, don't listen to him.
You don't listen to me. Nobody ever does.
Man, you're doing so good, though.
You know what?
See, you get the Louis endorsement.
I do get the.
Yeah.
Thank you, Louis. I get the. Well, and he sounded cool saying it. All right. It is 8:24 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. You know, I had such high hopes for this show, Joan. And since Senator Blackburn announced that she was running. By the way, I knew that she was. I knew, I had a very strong feeling she was going to announce today. I didn't think it was going to be till later. But I figure, okay, it's August recess and all that kind of stuff. So is she going to go and is she going to announce? It made sense that she would do it this week. So I just thought that she would actually be doing it a little bit later today. But anyway, so Senator Blackburn, going to be on the air, Murphy Show today, 5:05. And I know that Chris Hand is working like the Dickens to try to get one John Rose on the show.
Yeah, and
on
guess
his
what?
show.
I'll tell you when that's going to happen.
Oh, did he get him?
Dan.
Oh, come on,
I'm going to tell
man.
you in the news because that's my news tease.
All right, so
You
why
see?
don't? So what's happening is Joan is teasing her tease. Awesome.
That's right.
So what's coming up, Joan?
Well, I'll tell you when Chris Hand will have John Rose on this morning. Also, the brutal beating of a man in Washington, D.C., and it's getting the attention of Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Those stories coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$8:26, Nashville's Morning News, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Listen, it is back to school time, and that means that Busy Bee, they are bringing the buzz with huge savings and sweet giveaways as well. If you've got septic issues, now is the time to get it fixed. Get 15% off any septic work, main drain lines, or whole home repipes, 15% off from Busy Bee. You can also upgrade your HVAC system and get entered to win the Healthy Hive giveaway, a $1,500 sponsorship to the local school of your choice. You join the Beehive Club and you can gift a free membership to a local teacher, coach, or faculty member. Buy one, gift one. It is just that simple with Busy Bee. And you can breathe easier with $100 off indoor air quality products. The savings with Busy Bee just go on and on. Call them to get started. That number, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833. Find them online anytime, busybeehvac.com.
Good morning. It's now 8:31, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, it is official. Tennessee U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn made her future political wishes known this morning.
Always lead the way. And that's why I am announcing my candidacy for governor. Tennessee is the greatest place in the world to
Now,
rear a
Politico
family.
calls her a formidable candidate who would become the first female governor of the state. Now, she'll go up against Republican Congressman John Rose in the primary. You'll want to keep it here on WTN. Rose will be on with Chris Hand at 11:05 this morning. A brutal beating of a man in Washington, D.C. has the attention of Elon Musk and President Donald Trump.
A D.C. police report says the incident happened Sunday morning around 3 a.m. Officers said they saw a group of about 10 teens surrounding a vehicle, assaulting a man who said he was protecting his girlfriend. As police approached, the young assailants took off on foot. 2 were arrested. The victim was identified as 19-year-old Edward Korestein, who was a top Doge staffer when the effort was led by Elon Musk. President Trump posted a picture of the bloodied man as he vowed to take federal control of the city if D.C. doesn't, quote, get its act together and quickly.
That's ABC's Stephen Portnoy. Elon Musk tweeted his support for a federal takeover of the city. HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has ended funding for research into some mRNA vaccines.
RFK announced yesterday that after reviewing the science and talking to experts and reviewing investments, they will be halting 22 projects worth $500 million in mRNA vaccine development. No more mRNA vaccines will be developed.
ABC News chief medical correspondent Dr. Tara Narula there. Now, Secretary Kennedy said his focus is on safer, broader vaccine platforms instead. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. Stocks this morning is starting off mixed. We've got the Dow Jones Industrials down 38 points, but the NASDAQ gaining 72 right now. S&P 500 index is up 11 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:34, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Mark Spain, real estate. Listen, market is, slowed down in Tennessee. There's no doubt about that. If you need to get out of your home because you have found your dream home, my friends at Mark Spain Real Estate, they can help you avoid the stress of listing your home on the market and sell your home fast with an all-cash offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. It is all part of their guaranteed offer. Now, I always recommend Mark Spain Real Estate to my friends here in Nashville because I know that I can trust that they are going to sell your home hassle-free with that strong all-cash offer. Now, the Wall Street Journal and Real Trends both have consistently named Mark Spain Real Estate as a top real estate team in America for closed transactions for 9 years in a row, including being ranked #1 real estate team in the nation for 5 consecutive years. Mark Spain Real Estate is also the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America with over 13,000 5-star reviews. You can trust my friends to sell your home fast and for maximum profits. Find them online. Mark Spain Real Estate, that is markspainrealestate.com. That phone number, 855-299-SOLD. Find out what your guaranteed all-cash offer would be. There's no obligation. 855-299-SOLD. MarkSpain.com and start packing.
Okay, we still have the problems in June Lake this morning. A crash on 65 northbound just past the June Lake Boulevard exit. It's off to the shoulder, but it's still causing a lot of backup this morning. Talbot's Corner on 65 in the southbound side at I-24, exit 88. There's a crash on the right shoulder there, too. Priest Lake, Murfreesboro Pike, westbound near Edge of Lake Drive. Watch for a crash in that spot. And then also Berry Hill backed up on 65 northbound at Armory Drive. Another accident in that area. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thanks, Joan. 836 Nashville's Morning News on WTN. The Wellness Institute of Nashville. Listen, when I got to the state of Tennessee, I was in a lot of pain because of my chronic back and neck pain. I went to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They fixed me right up with some of their non-surgical spinal decompression. Now, right now, they've got a great special going on. They can help you. $12 for a comprehensive exam, x-rays if needed, well-explained diagnosis, and that first treatment, all of that for only $12. So listen, if you've got back and neck pain, sciatica, slipped or bulging spinal discs, herniated discs, spinal stenosis, numbness, or weakness in the arms and legs, fingers, or toes, they can help you. Again, it's all about state-of-the-art non-surgical spinal decompression surgery, non-surgical spinal decompression therapy. No surgery, no spinal injections, and no painkillers. 615-246-5009 is the phone number. 615-246-5009. Painisbad.com. $8:38. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So it's time for the crisscross handoff, and Chris is here. Hello, Chris.
I was thinking. I was talking to my wife, you know, and you came over to the house yesterday.
I did.
And she said, "What did Dan think of the place?" And I said, "Well, he didn't say anything." Did you like my house?
I loved your house.
All right, good.
It was very cool.
I didn't have an answer for her.
I like your hardwood floors.
Yeah,
did you tell her what I said about her, her trip to Virginia?
I did.
How it was just like to feed her ego to go to the place it was.
I let her know. I let her know that immediately.
Yeah, did she find that funny, or did she like?
There was no ready to delay. She said I got too much going on to deal with this right now, Chris.
So yeah, no, I think your house is great. Your neighborhood is great.
So they did the state capitol tour yesterday. If anybody is still under the impression that I don't have a smoke show wife, she posted a bunch of pictures on Instagram and I shared in my story at Chris Hand on Air.
Your smoke show wife.
She didn't do the state capitol. She did the Capitol building.
Yeah, sorry, right? The Capitol building.
Okay.
The Capitol building.
There you go.
But I had 3 listeners after I shared the photo go, "Oh, you weren't lying." 3 of them.
She's smoking hot.
Smoking hot.
Oh, I thought you meant she smokes cigarettes or something.
No.
She's smoking hot.
Smoking hot.
Okay.
Smoking hot.
Well, I feel a little awkward. So I don't know if I'm supposed to say, "Oh yeah, Chris, your wife is smoking hot." I don't know if I don't know what's appropriate here.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Man, we're gonna see a throwdown this morning. Yes.
No, Dan. Yeah, Dan came over. We were editing video yesterday, dude.
Yeah, we had a great time. I did. It's not my first short or reel, but Chris has shown me like all the tricks on how to do it, Joan.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna start doing them. I need to do a few things, at my house, and to get going on that. But you know what? I'm looking forward to it. So together we got what, Chris?
We got like a few thousand views yesterday on our shorts.
All right.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
How many total? You said 5?
I mean, between our live shows and stuff, yeah, there was like 6,000 views.
All right, cool.
Hey, thank you for bringing him right into the 2000s, Chris.
You're welcome, Joan.
That was awesome. Thank you.
He's been I've had to drag him kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
Man, kicking and screaming.
I said, well, yesterday after we did it, I said, welcome to 2008.
Okay, I don't think either one of you are funny. So you got John Rose on today.
Yes. Oh man, I got a jam-packed show. So we got John Rose.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to preemptively strike, is what I told him. I said, here's your opportunity. Blackburn's on at 5 with Murphy, right? 5 o'clock.
5:05.
Yep. I mean, great timing. And I said, this is your opportunity. What makes you different from Marsha Blackburn? So he's going to come on at 11:05, and then Jody Barrett, who's running for Mark Green's seat, he's going to come on in the 10 o'clock hour. He's going to be in studio addressing the red-hot anti-Trump controversy.
Yeah, because he said some not so nice things about Donald Trump way back when.
Yep.
And so he's going
So did J.D. Vance. Like,
this is true.
I mean, you're right, Joan. Good Lord, Ted Cruz?
Yeah.
Lying to
Marco Rubio? Another one.
Little hands.
Yeah.
Little
Little
Marco.
hands Rubio.
Little Marco.
So, I mean, a lot of people said things way back when, and I'm not.
You can understand where people were coming from.
Yeah.
Having the benefit of Trump's first term changed everything. Like,
absolutely.
It changed everybody's views on everything.
And every single one of those people that we have mentioned have come back to, sort of our side, if you will.
Yep.
They're backing Trump, and so with Jody Barrett, I mean, he's got his own story. It's a very good story. He announced on my show. And
like a slide that in there.
I like that too. That was
like that?
Smooth.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
See, I'm usually not that smooth. I mean, did you hear my wellness spot? Anyway. In fairness to me, I'm trying to do all this video stuff in studio. So I'm if you're watching on YouTube,
you got to up the YouTube game, Dan.
So I'm trying to do that and read the commercial at the same time, and the whole thing is a big old train wreck.
You need a producer.
Hey, is there such a thing as truckist?
Truckist?
Mm-hmm. Truckist or semiist?
What?
Well, I got a woman here on the TikTok who is saying that Buc-ees is racist. Now, I don't believe that Buc-ees is racist, but I think that they could be considered semiist or truckist because they don't allow the 18-wheelers.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
we don't appreciate these anti-truckites.
So, I have this audio, if I could, Louis. So, there's this woman, and she's just one of the reasons I really wanted to show this video is because her glasses are like goggles, right? So and I don't know how else to describe them, but she looks like she's wearing big swimming goggles.
Okay.
And one person said when I posted this earlier, one person said that, stupid looking glasses, always the first clue.
And if you're watching on the YouTube stream, you'll be able to see the stupid looking glasses for yourself.
All right, so here's the audio because we're rapidly running out of time. So here's what this woman says talking about Buc-ees.
I am currently at Buc-ees, which has a well-established history, especially in the last few years, of being racist. But why am I stopping at Buc-ees then?
Well established.
Well, okay, so I actually was drawn into this because I literally went to Grok. What is racist about Buc-ees? And she said, well established. There's nothing racist out there about Buc-ees.
Well established. It throws
well
me
established,
off.
She says. And there is, as far as I could tell, there's nothing about Buc-ees that is racist. You walk into Buc-ees, and there is a lot of black people working there, and there's a lot of black folks shopping there. I mean, anybody, as long as they're not driving a semi, everybody is welcome. So, and she never does say, why she is calling Buc-ees racist, but she goes on.
Well, there are a lot of moments in which a company does racist things, and while some people can boycott, everybody can't, especially without safety being a really important factor. Whenever we travel across the country, like we are currently doing, driving back from Atlanta down to Texas, after driving from Texas up to Ohio and a bunch of other states, Buc-ees is one of the only places where we can safely not only get gas, but also get food that isn't going to make you sick.
What?
It's one of the only places where you can get gas and get food that won't make you sick.
Safely. Well, no, she said the Buc-ees is the only place where you can go to safely get gas and safely get food that's not going to make you sick. So is that
what's racist about it?
So you mean to tell me
safety and food?
Safety. Oh, she talks about safety throughout this whole video. So
what?
She's talking about driving, through 3 or 4 different states, and the only place to safely get gasoline is Buc-ees.
And that's what makes it racist?
She does. That's the thing. She speaks in all these generalities and also very contradictory. I'm telling you, man, it's the glasses.
It's got to be the glasses. If you're watching on YouTube, those are some glasses that could kill an ant farm. I'm telling you what, they could. There would be a genocide of ants if you had those glasses.
Did you ever do that when you were a kid?
Yes, I did that. I'm an American man.
Did you pull the wings off of butterflies?
We did, and then I'm teaching my boys so you can tie strings to bugs. We do that with cicadas. We put them on leashes. You can freeze bees and do it.
Wow, that's kind of harsh.
It's fun. It's fun, Dan.
So she keeps talking about safely this and safely that, and by the way, still no talk or no proof as to why Buc-ees is racist. And then she starts talking, by the way, about Walmart and Kroger, who apparently, she's so delicate, who apparently also they are racist.
Oh, this same thing happens when we talk about places like Walmart and sometimes even Target. People condemn other people for using certain services that may, again, have been racist or currently are engaging in active racism. But a lot of times there are people that do not have a choice because they don't have other options. I live in a place where Walmart and Kroger are going to be 2 of the only grocery store options that you have. You cannot go out of your way to find somewhere else because not only may you be disabled or financially limited, but the distance could also make you unsafe. As somebody also, again, who has a disability, there are times where DoorDash is going to be the only way where I can get
she has a disability, all right.
She dumb.
Yeah.
Real quick,
what I need.
Let me finish it.
Even though I don't want to use some of these services, I don't have other options. It is very counterproductive and ignorant to make condemnations against people who don't have another choice without actually trying to provide them with another choice.
So this woman needs to be wrapped in bubble wrap.
She doesn't have any other options to get places that are far, she says, as she's driving through states in a car.
She needs to
stopping at other places.
She needs to feel safe.
Got it.
That's the big deal.
Very concerned for her safety.
Throughout the video, she's also talking about how she has a disability, yet she's able to drive somehow cross country and walk her dog. She looks very healthy. She sounds dumb as a stump, but she looks.
Don't insult stumps.
But she looks very healthy. She does. So I don't know what her disability is, but in one video,
we're gonna see a zoomed out version. She's gonna have like a peg leg or something. You know it.
So in one video, Buc-ees is racist. Walmart is racist. You have
she's mentioned Kroger too.
Kroger is racist. And there's no place though other than Buc-ees in like 4 different states where she can safely get gasoline.
The funny part about Kroger, and I don't mean to get squirreled like our friend Matt Murphy, but Kroger, I don't know if you've seen the little digital ads that they'll send out, but they'll send out digital ads and they'll have the most diverse cartoon characters waving pride flags and trans flags.
Yeah.
And it's they're incredibly woke. Incredibly woke.
Well, they all are. Now I will say, even though I didn't find any evidence of Buc-ees being racist, there were a couple of incidents at a couple of Walmarts randomly across the country where stuff happened, which is going to happen when you're that big. But all you got to do if Walmart was racist is look at all the black folks that are working here. Look at all the black people that are shopping here.
Yep.
So sometimes things happen in stores that are run by individuals, but as a store, Walmart does a lot of good for these communities.
Yep.
I mean, there's places where, while you have all of these other stores that are fleeing some of these neighborhoods, you've always got Walmart.
That's literally the point I was going to make. You could make the argument that Walmart is doing more of a service by staying in some of these communities than, taking huge losses via shoplifting and things like that, than fleeing altogether.
So do you think it is the glasses that's making her dumb? Like dumb colored glasses?
I think it's the glasses that's making me angry. I'll tell you what.
I just, for me, that I saw this morning, and I'm like, okay, I've got to do this as a video so people can see the glasses.
You got to see the glasses. Be Chill on the YouTube chat said, people like her have never been anywhere. Stay home, lady. Stay home.
That's what I mean, where it's like, man alive, you just put yourself in bubble wrap. If that's what you feel like you need to do, just bubble wrap yourself. If you have this disability and you don't feel safe driving across town, stay home.
Yeah, by all means.
But please stay. We don't want you here. And I'm not being any kind of ist. You're just dumb.
Imagine pumping your gas and you see this lady walking around doing a selfie video yelling about racism in the parking lot.
While she's walking her dog.
Yes.
I mean, that's what she's doing.
This place is so racist and safe. What is going on?
Actually, that's a great point.
I'm so confused. I've never felt so safe around so many racists in such a racist establishment. It's weird.
That's so funny.
It's a weird thing.
I love Buc-ees.
Dude, Buc-ees is awesome. Yeah, I love Buc-ees. Love Buc-ees.
Now,
we're going to get one in the borough. We keep, every time we drive by the little site, we're like, there it is, guys.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's taking a very long time to build that thing.
Yeah.
Why is it taking so long? Like, we In-N-Out's going to be here in just a couple of months, right?
Rome wasn't built in a day, Dan.
That's right.
No. Can I say one thing that is overrated? Just like you said, Sydney Sweeney isn't that hot.
Yeah, I did say that.
Do you know what's overrated about Buc-ees? Their beef jerky.
Okay.
Their beef jerky is overrated.
But everything else is awesome.
I think I've ticked off Chris.
No, you didn't tick me off.
Are you sure?
I just don't want to be roped into the hate mail that you're going to get on that. You talked about bad hate mail before, like we're going to do that on our podcast.
Yeah.
After you've insulted the jerky at Buc-ee's, I envision more death threats in your future, which is I don't want to be privy to that.
You can take down the share now, if you would, Louie. She's done.
Speaking of Sydney Sweeney, did you see the absolute legendary post by the White House?
No.
The White House on Twitter, at White House, they posted a picture of Trump on the roof with his hands. He's doing the megaphone hands, and the quote says, "Have you seen the Sydney Sweeney ad?"
Oh, that is so funny. That is so funny. Oh, yes, we've seen it.
Whoever's running social media at these government institutions now need raises fast.
There's spectacular.
Another one. There is another one, though. He's doing that same thing where he's looking over the side of the White House and it says, "Your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries." Which just cracks me up. If you're a Monty Python fan, you get that.
Yep.
All right. It is 8:53 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and I have no idea where we are on time, so let's take a break. Joan, what's coming up at 9?
Yeah, the big news for Marsha Blackburn this morning as she announces a run for governor. That and more coming up here at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$8:54, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Dan Mandis here. I've been telling you for years about United Structural Systems. Now, they are experts in waterproofing, concrete leveling, and foundation repair. Now, this is a great company. They've helped me several times with my home. That is why I proudly endorse United Structural Systems. Now, I'm one of 30,000 satisfied customers. Listen to this recent review on Google. Guy says at USS, they were highly professional. The crew was phenomenal from start to finish. They treated his home as if they were working on their own. And he does give USS 5 stars all the way, as do I. We guarantee our best. Call USS 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, USSTN.com. Dan Mandis here for Specialty Coatings. Listen, if you are a business owner and your flooring doesn't look so great, my friends at Specialty Coatings can help you because, listen, if your floor doesn't look good, that is a reflection on your company. Let Specialty Coatings help you. They have done so many floors across Middle Tennessee. They've been around for 30 years, as a matter of fact, and you've probably walked on some of their incredible concrete floor coatings. They've done work in all the major sports stadiums, the arenas, the convention centers as well. Just last year, Specialty Coatings in Nashville installed over 1 million square feet of coatings for businesses across Tennessee. Those buildings include manufacturing, warehouses, airplane hangars, retail, and a whole lot more. Find them online, specialtycoat.com. You can see examples of their amazing work. Again, specialtycoat.com. $8:57, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. You know, the weather in Middle Tennessee can get crazy, which is why you need a backup home standby generator from my friends at the Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. Get a free quote and get peace of mind. When you have one installed, the Generator Supercenter does feature expert installation, 24-hour monitoring as well. They are not going to leave you in the dark, and financing is available. 615-879-1952. Find them online anytime. Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com. $8:59, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. You know, Chris, earlier
Tell me about it, Dan.
We were talking about WTN hosting a gubernatorial debate.
Yes. We got to do something.
Guy says, hey, we could do that, Dan. You could be part of the hosting crew, so we could do a drinking game every time Marsha Blackburn said, well, Dan.
But I think the more fun would be the debate for Mark Green's seat. And what we should do is we should do a weakest link format where we have a YouTube vote going on, and at the end of 20 minutes, we eliminate whoever has the lowest votes.
People?
Yeah, you're out. Sorry.
Like
That'd be
the
fun.
Gong Show.
I think that would be gangster. I don't know who would agree to it, though.
John Rose, coming up.
John Rose at 11:05. Jody Barrett in the 10 o'clock hour. We're gonna ask him the hard questions.
All right. Fun-filled Chris Hand Show is coming up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.